You got it locked on Roadium Radio.
Due to circumstances beyond anyone's control, Dr. Dre is in the motherfucking house. So right about now, and I say, yo Steve, are you with me? Ice-E, are you with me?
Here's a little something about a nigga like me. They never should've let me buy tape from Steve. Ice Cube would like to play dope shit mixed by Dr. Dre. And since I was a youth, I like COMPTON. Now I like the motherfucking Roadium. Buying a tape or two, that's what the hell I do. You don't like Tony A? Well, fuck you, this is a game. And I'm in it. Ice Cube will fuck you up in a minute with a right, left, right, making you sick. And then you see Tony A is on the mix.
Tony A. Tony A. When you're ready, go.
Welcome back, everyone, to Roadium Radio episode 200. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody that has supported me throughout these 2 years. September 11, 2019 is when I started. And I didn't think I would be here that long. Like I said, maybe 2-3 months, and I thought I would be off the air. But it's only been made possible through you guys that have subscribed, liked, comment, shared, liked, disliked. It doesn't matter. You guys are still watching, but you guys have supported me, so thank you. And for those of you that didn't support me but are still watching, thank you once again. Other than that, if I have anything I want to share, I'm going to share it during the breaks. We're still selling ads, so if you want to promote your restaurant, your business, your OnlyFans page, whatever you want, contact me at roadiumradio@gmail.com, and we sell ad space for you to promote your ads during the breaks of Roadium Radio. Other than that, once again, Roadium Radio has a TikTok. We'll put that during the break. And we're going to also be sharing Mr. D's official TikTok during the break. So you guys will be able to see that. You guys will be able to follow him on there as well for future content. Other than that, I don't have much to share other than to thank everyone that has subscribed and has been here for me. Much love. I appreciate you guys for tuning in for episode 200. And I couldn't go out without a bang, so I had to invite a special friend. And most of you guys know who this man is. This man needs no introduction. He is a West Coast legend. And if you don't know who he is, then today you will find out. But without further ado, please allow me to introduce my friend, a West Coast legend, Julio G, in the place to be. How you doing, brother?
I'm in the house, everybody. Finally. I finally made it. Tony, it's good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, my brother.
It's been a minute.
Yes, sir.
I think last time we seen each other, first of all, since back in I've known you since the 80s.
Yes.
Late 80s. Oh, not even late 80s, like mid 80s. But I think I seen you last time was we ran into each other real quick at Black Tones event.
Yes.
That they were having, you know what I mean? So I hope he's doing better.
Yes.
I have not been able to reach out to anybody that,
Yeah.
I haven't seen somebody that knows Tone close. So, you know, I send love to Black Tone. I hope
Absolutely.
he's doing good. That's my brother. I love that dude, man. So
Yeah.
we did run into each other real quick right there. But
yes.
we didn't get to talk too much because there was a lot going on that night.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and it took me a little time to get on here because a lot of people have been asking me to get on Roadium Radio, and I was like, I'm gonna make it happen. I was dealing with a little shoulder injury, so I'm doing better now. So
Yes.
So we made it
Okay.
happen, and it fell on your 200. So congratulations, man. It feels really good to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you for being here. If I may ask you a little favor, can you turn your little mic up a little bit to face you a
this way?
little?
Okay,
Just
cool.
a little bit, right?
No problem.
Perfect.
There we go.
But you know what? I want to share a little bit on how I first met you before we actually get started on everything. Because I know with you, it's going to be more of a conversation because we're going to be reminiscing of just how long we've known each other and everything you have accomplished. I'm hoping to get everything done within these 2 hours. But there's so much work that you have done that is probably going to be impossible.
It's gonna be tough, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we'll touch on a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something, Tony, before you start. I want to say something. This is the first interview that I've done in over, I want to say maybe 5 years.
Okay.
Now, the only thing I have done is the Be Real Smoke Box, and I done Be Real's podcast maybe a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Be Real is a different situation because he's family, so I have no problem doing it. But I had posted something, and I actually found the post. It was in 2016 that I wrote I would not do no more interviews anymore because I was tired of giving my history and it ends up on the editing floor. You know, because I was doing a lot of people BET, or these people would ask me and do stuff, and then they'll just show a little clip of me, and I'm like, damn man, I drove all the way down here, like I got things to do. I don't got time to be sitting down for an hour to talk to you, and then you use 3 seconds, and then later on, that conversation, these little clips are popping up in other situations, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't talk to you guys. How did this piece end up over there? Oh, so you guys are getting my pieces, and then you're selling them off to certain people when you only use this piece, but the other ones you're. So it was kind of like, okay, I got to stop this because this is not doing it. You know what I mean? So, but you know, I'm glad to be here because this is probably the first time I'm able to be in a real interview like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like no time frame and I can talk, because a lot of people don't know my history.
Yes.
They just know me from the radio, but there's a lot more history to what I've done in hip hop, and especially for Hispanic, for Latino hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. Like I want to do something like this with a person like you, because we go way back and we have history.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that. It's like, you know, oh, why are you gonna do? Or they see me posted and they're like, oh, you're gonna do Tony A's, and can you do mine? Like, dog. It's like I have history with this person. There's a reason why I'm gonna go sit and talk with Tony, and because you're Hispanic, and I've always been a person that wants to support my people in whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? That's why I felt bad I couldn't come, because of my shoulder. But I was like, I'm gonna get there, Tony. I'm gonna get there, trust me, because fans would hit me.
Yes.
Come on, man, you got to do Roadium. I'm like, I am, bro. I just give me a second, bro. I'm gonna make sure my shoulder's better, and then so we're here, man. So I appreciate you letting me get on. And before we go, I know you want to start. I do want to give you a gift before we start.
Oh man,
this is courtesy of LA Kush.
LA Kush, thank you.
LA Kush. I want you to be geared up with the LA Kush.
You mind if I look at
pull it out, man. Pull it out. I brought you a nice hoodie for the winter time, because that's coming up.
LA Kush hoodie.
LA Kush hoodie.
Okay.
Threw you a little shirt in there, I believe.
Oh hell yeah.
Got you another LA.
Oh,
Kush
that's
one.
dope right there.
Yep. And I got a beanie for you in there. Threw a beanie in there for you too. So that's courtesy of LA Kush right there. So that's my people's right there. So
LA Kush, thank you.
Yeah, I always represent LA Kush. So that's for you, Tony.
Thank
Enjoy
you,
that,
my
man.
brother.
Wear that when you can, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But thank you for having me. I appreciate you, bro.
I'll
I'm
even
glad
take
to
a
be here.
picture and
it's a
tag you
pleasure and
guys.
an honor, bro.
Thank you. You know, first of all, I'm glad you shared that, man, because it truly means a lot to me. It kind of reminds me really quick before we jump into it. A few years back, and I was talking maybe like 2006, Quick had did an interview for these people all the way they came from Germany to interview him, and it was like a death row type of like interview. They were talking about Suge or whatever, and he did like a 2-hour interview. And I remember 6 months later when it came out, it was exactly what you said. They might have used maybe 5 seconds, like a quote.
Yeah.
And I said, where did all that footage go? And he said, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't know what happens to it. And then it becomes, like, it's cool and all that, but it's like as more time went on, this history is valuable.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I'm going to keep it real. I hear a lot of people, they talk that West Coast this and the West Coast, and yeah, the West, and I'm from the West, and da-da-da, but you weren't there. There's a big difference. When you talk to me, I was there. I wasn't there as a fan. I wasn't there at the show. I'm backstage. I'm the radio. I'm the guy that broke these people. That's why they're on stage. There's a big difference. I was at that.
Yeah.
I was at the East Coast, West Coast beef. I was in the middle of that. I represented the West Side, not nobody else. Let's be very clear tonight. I'm gonna be very clear about a lot of things for the fans, because you guys want me to come on. Okay, we're gonna be clear. I rep the West Side. West Side Radio rep the West Side. Nobody else, no disrespect to nobody else, but y'all was on Nas and Jay-Z and rapping J. Rue Damager, and everybody wanted to be the hip-hop B-boy. But I did that too. But I rep the West. I put these dudes on the map. I brought people back from the past. King T wasn't on the radio. I brought King T back to the radio. At the 80s, we did that stuff. In the 90s, I brought that back. We got to play at your own risk. We got to play
Act the fool.
Just dipping. We got to do that. That's King T.
Yes.
They weren't giving King T love on Power 106. They weren't looking at them like that. They wasn't looking at MC8 like that. I brought MC8 back because MC8's had songs. I brought them back from the 80s when people had forgot about those songs. I brought them back, and I made them, oh yeah, that's MC8. Now you look at MC8 and you say he's a legend, right? So I'm proud of just doing
Speak
that
on it, my
alone,
brother.
because a lot of those people, the majority that you speak on today, those people are now considered legends. So when I hear all this, I'm like, yeah, but when he was not that, you didn't want to hear him.
Yes.
You didn't want to play him. You thought he was whack. He can't rap. I heard all that from Too Short. Man, why you play Too Short? Man, he can't even rap. I used to hear all that. I'm like, man, you don't understand the hood because I'm from the hood.
Yeah.
You're not understanding that in the hood, their language is different. You're just from Burbank. So you don't understand that. You live in the hood, bro. You understand. You absorb this every day. I live in the hood.
You still live in the hood.
I still live in the hood. So I know what's popping in the street. I know what's hot because all I had to do was go out in the corner of my block is Long Beach and Imperial. What they playing. It just comes down to that. And then, so that's why people would never understand the West Coast music and how I did it. And it was just really basic common sense. You got to play your backyard.
You got to play your backyard.
You have to. You just, I mean, you know what I mean?
But
a lot of kids, it just wasn't, it was a lot of DJs, that wasn't who they were. They were not, they're from a different background. They're, you know, they come from Orange County or they're from Burbank or they're, and that's not to take nothing away from them, but I don't expect them to understand Eazy-E, what he's talking about.
Right.
Right? Because I do.
Yes.
Because I grew up in Linwood, so I'm right next to Compton. So I grew up in that atmosphere. So it was, to me, it was just obvious.
And you work with Eazy.
And I work with Eazy. But we did this since the 80s, bro. Since 1580 KDAY, we were breaking the West Coast.
Yeah.
You know, all those other artists, those West Coast, I mean, those East Coast artists, they all had record deals. LL was on Def Jam. Kool Moe Dee was on Jive.
Yeah.
You know, they all had big record deals. 4th and Broadway, they had all that. Rodney on Joe Cooley was on Egypt Empire.
Yeah.
You know, and no disrespect to Egyptian Lover, but it was just an indie label. You know what I mean? It was, Egyptian Lover didn't have like what if he could have, he probably would have took Rodney on Joe Cooley to a whole other level, you know, because he did big with them, you know what I mean? But you didn't have like those, you know, King T was on Unknown's label.
Yeah.
You know, it's like but what we did is like, we mixed, you know, LL Cool J, and then we had to play King T.
That's right.
And then we had to play Toddy T with Mixmaster Spade, and we had to mix it in with Run DMC. But we had to make sure that we had our people in there represented on 1580 KDAY, and that's where you got all those groups from, those 80s West Coast groups. That came from 1580 KDAY and Greg Mack and the Mixmasters. You know, Greg Mack broke a lot of artists also. Mixmasters, we would break records too. It was just a 1580 KDAY was just a breaking records machine over there. You know what I mean? So,
I love it, brother. I love it. I love it. Honestly, I could keep listening to you because you're just speaking facts, and I love that you said it because I was there. I made it happen. But
that's what I'm saying. You were there, Tony. That's what I'm saying. I seen you there. We were there. I was. That's what I mean by that. It's like you can speak on it. I can sit here with you. I don't mind doing that because when we're talking, you were there, bro. I remember seeing you. And remember, we were only a handful of us Hispanics.
Yes.
Because we all knew each other.
Yeah.
And maybe we might not have been like, "What's up, my boy?" Like we know each other, you know. But we knew each other. We respected each other. We like, oh, I heard a homeboy. He's from da 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 over there. I heard I remember when I first met Johnny J. Rest in peace.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, let me stop today. Rest in peace to Johnny J. Today is his anniversary of his passing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
So yeah, rest in peace to my brother Johnny, man. I love Johnny. But I met Johnny like in 1990 during the Mellow Man Ace time, right? And we were both on tour together with Stevie B, TKA, I believe, Kid Frost, Mellow Man Ace, and Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I met Johnny J was at our first sound check. And I walked straight up to him because I knew who he was, but I never met him. But Johnny was a little hood.
Yeah.
Johnny was hood, you know what I mean? So he grew up with blacks. So I could tell in the beginning he didn't know how I was coming at him. Like he was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, Johnny, I'm Julio G." "Oh yeah, I heard of you, dog. Like, I know who you are." Okay. So then we broke the ice. I'm like, "Hey, dude, check this out. So we don't have to tear down your stuff every night. If you want to just use mine, we'll just use mine for the tour and leave your stuff on the bus."
Right.
He's like, "Oh, for real, bro?" I said, "Yeah, I got you, Johnny J. Come on, man." You know, and that's how we became friends on that tour and became close because of that. Till, you know, I talked to him not that long before he passed. We had been friends for a while.
Right.
Off and on, he would pop up in my studio and we just have great. And I remember one of my last conversations with Johnny. Rest in peace. I want to share this with everybody. We actually had talked one day, and he had told me like how proud he was. Like we were both Hispanics, and we like did our own damage in the game. Like he came from one end, I gave. You know, he was just like he loved that.
Yeah.
And I remember that conversation. I was like, "Damn, Johnny, that feels good for you to say that." Yeah, we go way back, and we were talking about that day we met at the first show and all that. So rest in peace to Johnny. For people that don't know Johnny J, he produced the majority of Tupac's music. And he done some other things too, Candyman, Knocking Boots, and a few other things. But everybody really knows him from all them great records he did with Tupac. And a lot of those records that you hear that they later remixed and added like a different music to it, that still gets credited as Johnny J Productions when you read the credits, because Johnny had to give him that permission. A lot of people don't know that Johnny had a lot of Tupac's catalog. You know, a lot of them Until the End of Time album and all that, those songs are Johnny's songs. Yeah. But they remixed them with other producers. Yeah. Because maybe the beats were dated or whatever it was, or whatever situation. But that you have to give that respect to Johnny, because he went and put that work in with Tupac. He would be there working and recording and recording. And he had just a catalog, a crazy catalog with Tupac. So rest in peace to Johnny J, man. Another Hispanic Heritage Month. We got to give it up to Johnny, man. For sure.
Rest in peace, Johnny. Really quick, to touch on Johnny, I talked to him maybe about a month before he went in, and he was in the county. And the crazy thing is that one of the guys that I work out with at the gym, I would never give up his name because he's like to be low key, is actually one of the deputies that made him a trustee in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll share some little inside things when we go to break about Johnny. But let's take it back to 80s, Vermont Swamp Meet in City Gardena, across the street from Ascot.
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember playing a Joe Cooley cassette. Much love, much respect to Joe Cooley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just some homemade scratching stuff. And I'm just there as a kid, and I'm just bobbing my head listening, because I just thought he was the most amazing DJ, you know. And then your boy Ray, whom I knew, who sells jeans. He had the corduroys, the 501s, he had everything. And then some kid named Julio G walks up to my stand where my mom is at and says, "Hey, who's that?" And I said, "Oh, that's a guy named Joe Cooley. Can you dub me a cassette?" "Yeah, I'll dub you a cassette. Give me a cassette." We dubbed the cassette. We changed phone numbers. And I remember calling you, rest in peace to your mom. You know, está Julio sees ahorita. You know, that, "Hey, what's up, bro?" Then I remember you were telling me, "Oh, I'm working on this. I'm working on that. I'm working on this." But throughout the years, we managed to stay in touch. Then, for a while, here's the crazy part.
But you're forgetting one thing.
Yes, tell me.
You're forgetting. I was what do you call it? A judge at a DJ contest you were at.
I was going to get to that.
Okay, go ahead. So I just wanted you to forget that, because I remember that night very vividly also.
And as a matter of fact, I even still have the trophy.
Wow,
I'm going to bring it out.
Absolutely,
okay?
absolutely.
So what happened was we stayed in touch, and I remember you invited me.
What year was that, Tony? 88? 80? No.
88?
No, it might have been even early. No. I want to say I got into 1580 KDAY 86. That had to be like 87 maybe?
This was 88, because it still has the year on it.
Oh, it's 88. Okay, yes. I just wanted to make sure. I know it was around there somewhere. Okay. 88.
And it was right here in Carson at the San Marico Hall.
Carson, San Marico, absolutely.
So what happened was, I remember we were talking for a while. You invited me to a party where Ray, I guess a house party in Southgate at the time. You showed up. You were only there for a little bit, and then I was there hanging out with Ray. I showed up kind of early. There was people there, but I remember that was my second time seeing you outside of the swamp meet. And then after that, I heard on the radio. I know I'm fast forwarding a lot, but they announced the new KDAY Mixmaster. Now this is KDAY 1580 KDAY on AM. Okay, that if you didn't have a nice radio, you got a little Spanish music on there.
Right.
So, and then they announced Julio G is the new KDAY Mixmaster, and I was like,
yeah, that was a big deal for me.
I mean, you know, for me, that guy from the swamp meet.
It was big, bro.
Yeah, like that guy.
Trust me.
Bro,
that's how I looked at Joe Cooley. That's what I was like, I can't believe I'm next to Joe Cooley.
Yeah, so
it was amazing.
As soon as I heard that, I called up Joe and I said, "Hey, I just heard that they had not." And he goes, "Yeah, he's a mix master." And I was like, you know what my dream was, bro? More than anything, it wasn't even about money, and I know you could probably say the same thing. It was to wear that KDAY Mix Master jacket, bro.
Absolutely. It was such a big deal.
Because you belong to something.
So it's like, I'll go back and give you some history on all that stuff. So when I was in high school, well, I'll start before that. I started, well, we'll go to my childhood, how I even got into music, because that comes from being in Linwood and growing up with my black friends and being into music before hip-hop. Yeah. So I was into music as a child, young child, because my first best friend, his name was Marcellus, rest in peace. He was a black friend of mine.
Yeah.
Now, when you're a kid, you know, especially in that era, we didn't care about that. People more care about that in a sense today. But you probably grew up the same way. You had black friends growing up. It was normal. It's not like, oh, you black, we were different. Yeah, we ate different food. That's why you want to come to my house. That's why I want to come to your house. That was the cool thing about it. It was like we were different. That's the cool thing. We had different cultures. But when it came to friendships, we loved to pop wheelies. We loved to ride bikes. We loved our radios. And
we love popping and breaking.
Right, bro. So we loved all that. So I grew up, with my friend Marcellus, and he was just a very advanced kid. Like he knew how to break things apart early in his day. He would open up a radio and, hey, the wire goes like this. And he's just crazy, the kid, you know what I mean? But he knew music was really his thing. So that's all we grew up on, was having a radio, a 2-speaker radio,
right,
and our cassettes, and double riding on bikes. So like, oh, let me ride, let me jump on top, let me play the music, and then, oh man, I'm tired, man, let me jump off and we go to different blocks in Linwood and go see friends, and that's kind of how I came up in the music situation, you know what I mean? And then I got into, and I always was dancing. I always was dancing growing up, because I had black friends, and everybody. I remember the first time I seen the Crip Walk, like really seeing the real Crip Walk. I was a young little kid, you know what I mean? And it was amazing to me to see real Crips Crip walking. Real Crips Crip walking, yeah, because I grew up in a real Crip neighborhood. So that's, then I got into dancing, and then I got into popping for fun. It wasn't like I was trying to compete with people, but then breakdancing came, and that's what got me. Yeah. Like I wanted to do that. So Crazy Legs and Prince Ken Swift, I will say, were the two people that saved me from the streets, because I wanted to be them. Yes. I wanted to be Crazy Legs footwork, and I wanted to have like Prince Ken Swift's like style, like his whole attitude he had when he made a pose and stuff. I still to this day I love Prince Ken Swift. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to do that, and I got into that real deep. Right. And that's how I ended up meeting Cypress Hill in high school. Okay. We broke dance against each other. Oh, no shit. When I first met them. Okay. So they weren't like Cypress Hill yet, but they were just like the friend, the Sendog, Mello, right, B, Tyrone from Funk Dubious, Tomahawk Funk, and a couple other people. So that's how we met in high school. So that's kind of how I got into. And then eventually in like 10th grade, I decided that I wanted to get into DJing, which was another thing that I seen my friend Marcellus do first. Okay. He got me into that, but I didn't know how to. I was in Marcellus's garage, and he went to an Uncle Jam's Army dance, but he was young, man. We were young, but he was just one of them guys that like kids that was a little advanced. Like he had older cousins, so he could go to places they take him. Right. So he went to the dance, and he's like, "Look, man, I seen them up there. I seen Bobcat. They had 6 turntables, an Egyptian Lover," and he's explaining it to me. And he had a pool table, and he had made like a mock little raggedy turntable of this version with something he pulled out of his mom's thing to make this one. And he had a realistic little baby. Remember the black realistic mixer? Yeah. He had that. And then he had Sucker MCs by Run DMC. And he said, look, he went like this. Boom, bum, 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 bugga, bum, 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 bugga, bum, bum. And that when I seen just that, I was like, man, I want to do that. It was like breakdancing part 2 for me. It was like, because when I got to the 10th grade, in my early years, I would go out to breakdance. Like B-Real will tell you this. Sendog would all tell you. They'll all tell you. I used to battle. I used to go around and battle. I was very good at what I did. I was very known in the area. I would go to contests. I would go to win contests. I would win contests and make money. My mom would give me a ride. I was too young. I couldn't even have a car. I couldn't even drive.
What was your breaking name, there?
J-Rock. Okay. Yeah. And so I would go around battling people, and then I had my little homies. They would battle with me. And then I met this other friend, another black friend of mine named Boo. Boo helped me out a lot, and me and Boo used to go breakdance against people. And then one day, Sendog used to work at JCPenney, and he was older than us. Yeah. And so Sendog had just got this job, and he says, hey, they want to do this thing where they want to show these sweatsuits. So before the store opens, they want to do this thing where we all show up, we put the radio down, and then we start breakdancing in the sweatsuits as like a promotional for the staff. Right. And they'll give us $200. And for us, bro, it's hell yeah, it's $200. And, you know, so I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So we went in and did school and went and did it, got the $200, and then we split up the money. We went and bought some weed, and we went to Santa Monica Pier, smoked a little over there, whatever. On the way home, I tell him, in the car, hey, listen, man, I'm gonna quit breakdancing. They're like, what? Because they knew I was really into it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, for me, it was like, as a kid, I wanted to be in a movie. I wanted to be in a commercial. I wanted to do what Boogaloo Shrimp was doing.
Yeah.
I wanted to do what Poppin' Taco was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I looked up to Poppin' Pete. I wanted to be them. I wanted to be Crazy Legs and Rocksteady Crew in the Wild Style movie. I wanted my time. I wanted my chance to do that, right? So that's kind of, as a kid, that's what's in my head. But it's not happening because I can't make it happen. I'm winning contests, but I don't have an agent. I'm a kid, bro. I'm 13 years old, 12 years old. I'm thinking like trying to be a Hollywood celebrity and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how that's what I tell them. I said, so I'm going to quit DJing. And they're like, man, that's crazy you say that because we want to start rapping. And I'm like, cool. Well, you know, do your thing. I'll do my thing and we'll figure it out. And that's how it came about. That was in my 10th grade year. And then like by my 11th, going into my 12th grade year, my 12th grade year is when we started doing those backyard parties.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when we got the mic. And like we used to have a routine that we would do on the Jekyll and Hyde Genius Rap instrumental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was dope.
So it was a little piece that I would do, and then Tomahawk Funk would come in, and San, and then Mello, and then B at that time was just kind of our boy because he was younger than us.
Right.
Yes, you know. So it was like B was like just coming up under us, you know. But he was our boy, so he'd be whatever he could do, he'd do it. Like that's what he would do, you know what I mean? And then as he got older, then we started, you know what I mean, getting more serious with it. But we were just all young kids, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
We didn't know what we were doing. We were just trying to do something to figure it out.
It's funny that you use that Sucker MCs by Run DMC because I usually tell this story. The first time I ever seen DJing was Grandmaster Flash. It was a commercial on TV. I don't know if it was for a documentary. It's that old footage when Fat Five Freddy's there and he turns around and scratches Vader.
He's in his kitchen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. When I saw that was the first time I ever seen something like that on TV. But the first time I ever seen a DJ scratch in person was, and I was sharing with you earlier, the owner of VIP Records in Long Beach, Calvin Anderson, his brother, he had a brother named King Tim. So one day, me and my brother, we drive to Long Beach, we're going up PCH, and we stopped there, and it was like on some Einstein shit. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, mind blowing.
Yeah, like, what is that? And then he's like, and I was like, so me, the first thing that I think is like, who taught you? And he goes, no, nobody taught me. I just practice.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how do you practice? And he goes, well, this is my stuff. So in my mind, I got to get some stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But not knowing that fucking 1200s were like, what are they going back, 700?
They were like 400, 450,
Yeah.
500. So going back to Ray, my friend
Yes.
Ray from the swap meet. It's all going to go back around to him. And I wanted to explain that to you about how I met Cypress and all that, but then how Ray comes into it. So Ray, this friend of mine named Ray Rodriguez, and I want to give him a big shout out and salute to that brother because he was a wonderful, wonderful brother to be so generous at the time and help me with my career. Because if it was not for this one individual, I would not be doing. There's a lot of people that I give a lot of credit to, but that's one of them. My friend Ray Rodriguez. Ray is how I met Tony.
Okay.
Right, because he had the swap meet stand. Mm-hmm. So this friend of mine, Ray, his family had 2 stands at the Vermont.
Yes.
And when you said that tape about Joe Cooley, the reason why I needed that was because I was such a fan of Joe Cooley and I wanted to hear anything that he did.
Yeah.
So I had to have that. I was just like, Joe was one. Tony G was for sure. I had to have Joe. If I could find anything with M-Walk. There was people that I already knew. So Ray, he had a setup and he had a group called 3D. And so Ray would make money at the swap meet.
Yeah.
So he would always buy records. So you know. So
yes.
When I met and started hooking up with Ray, he had like 12 crates of just everything was a double in the 12-inch. And I'm talking about, he just had, I'd never seen nothing like that.
Yeah.
12 crates of just all fire, right? And he had the beautiful Technique 1200s with the beautiful mixer. But the only thing is that they really couldn't get down with the cutting.
Right. It was more of a blending thing.
Yeah, it's kind of they didn't really know. You know how it was, Tony. Nobody really taught nobody. Nobody could see stuff. You didn't really, not like today, you could just get on your phone and, yeah, somebody's DJing. Oh, just show her, here's the flare scratch. Oh, you just done 1, 2, 3. Nah, it wasn't like that back then. You had to see it.
Yes, yes.
Right? And it was very difficult because you didn't have the options to see stuff like that. So Ray, in my 11th grade year, going into my 12th grade that summer, Ray said to me, "Hey man, you're really good, bro. Like, why don't you just take the turntables, man? Just take them to your house, bro.
Oh man,
take the records, bro." And that's why I say, if it wasn't for that guy doing that and being that generous to say, he owned this stuff. He could have been like, "I don't want you touching my stuff, bro. It's at my house."
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you want to come practice, you can come over to my house. But no, he said, "Take it." And that 11th grade summer, going into my 12th grade, I did not leave my garage, and I practiced that whole summer because I wanted to learn how to mix.
Yes.
That was the thing I needed to learn, mixing. The scratching was one thing, but I needed to learn how to mix records. And that's when I got 2 records, and I started to learn how to okay, get the beat. Oh, speed it up. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's it. Oh, so this one's at 8, and this is at 6. And I started to memorize. So when I do Planet Rock at 8, that goes with this one at 6. These are the 3 6s that go with the 8, and this is how in my head I was remembering mixes.
Yes.
Same thing you did, Tony. You know how we did it. You know
and many times you don't even need headphones because you can grab a Planet Rock, you can grab a Murder Rock, and you know exactly where it was.
You knew where it was at.
Yes.
You'll touch it a little bit, but you already kind of knew this is a 6+ and this is a 7. So and you knew you lined those records up with each other, kind of what people do today with their crates.
Right.
But we had to do it with our ourselves, what I mean? As kids, you know what I mean?
Listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hold that thought right there. 30 minutes went by real quick.
I'm sorry, I talk a lot, everybody.
No. It's all good, bro.
Sometimes I don't get to do this stuff, so I don't get to really talk about history.
I want you to keep talking, bro, because I think people need to hear you. I think this needs to be documented. I always tell people this is almost like your biography when you come here. Just share, bro. Share everything that you share your story. That's all I want to say.
So when I come back, we're going to talk about 1580 KDAY. When I come back, we're going to talk about Eazy-E and what I feel about, did somebody kill Eazy-E or not? Because a lot of people always ask me that. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Cypress Hill. We'll talk about Mellow Man Ace. We'll talk about Kid Frost. And everybody's asked me about Toker from the Brown side. We will talk about Toker from the Brown side. And we'll definitely talk about Tony G and how incredible of a DJ he is and why we need to be giving him his flowers. So
incredible DJ, awesome. Once again, everybody, call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Julio G is in the motherfucking place. We'll be back in 10 minutes, okay? Don't fuck around.
Hey, how you doing? It's me, little Eazy-E, Eric, right? And a lot of you know me, know I like to smile. And to thank for my beautiful smile, I want to thank Occidental. That's Occidental Hollywood. So check this out. For all your dental needs, be sure to come to them because they'll be there to take care of you. That's Occidental Hollywood. Check them out.
Hey, what up? It's your boy, Mr. Shadow. You're watching Roadium Radio with my homeboy, Tony A. the Wizard. You know what time it is.
Yo, what's cracking? Nosotros somos Aquid y estamos aquí con Tony A. the Wizard. You know Roadium Radio, damn it. You know what it is.
Yo, what's cracking? It's your boy, OG Arabian Prince from the world's most dangerous group, NWA. Sitting here with my boy, Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
What's up, everybody? It's your homegirl Magic Girl, and you are now listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
Yo, what's up? This is Bozo, aka Emiliano. You tune into Roadium Radio on Tony Vision's YouTube channel. Let's get it.
What up? It's Mr. Soto. You guys are now in tune to Roadium Radio right here on Tony Vision on YouTube. Yep.
Check it out. This is MC Poncho on the MIC. Shout out to Tony A. the Wizard, Roadium Radio. You already know.
What up, this is DJ Trick, Spanish Fly, and you're watching Tony A on the Roadium Radio Show.
Big G, Roadium Radio, Tony A in full effect. Stay tuned, watch, listen. This is how we doing it over here.
This is DJ Clientele, and you are listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
Yeah, this Baby Bounce here with Tony A. the Wizard. You are now tuned in to the Roadium Radio. We do it for the people. You hear me?
Mic check. Ernie G from Proper Dos.
and I'm listening to Tony A, the motherfucking wizard, on Roadium Radio. And if you don't know, you should know.
What's up, everybody? This is Soren Baker. I'm the author of the book, The History of Gangster Rap, in stores now worldwide. And you're listening to Roadium Radio, hosted by Tony A. Make sure to check it out. We talk about the Roadium mixtapes. We're here. Soren Baker, Roadium Radio.
Y'all, this is Greedy Greg, and I'm chilling with Tony the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
Hey, this is Swifty Blue. I'm right here at Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard. Stay tuned.
It's the KAS here live on Roadium Radio with the one and only Tony A the Wizard.
What up, y'all? This is Kiki Smooth, the first Mexican rapper out of Compton, rich and ruthless, and you're listening to the Roadium Radio with Tony A the Grand Wizard, El Mago himself. Hey, Compton's in the house.
What's up? It's Quete Yes God with my harbor out. I got homeboy Tony A the Wizard on Roadium Radio. Yes God.
Hey, what's up, gente? It's your homeboy Duende. You're tuned into Roadium Radio with my homeboy Tony A the Wizard. Ya te la sabes, wey.
What up, what up? It's your boy Baldacci the Beast, F for Music, Face of LA, right here at Roadium Radio. Make sure y'all tune in. Your boy Tony A the Wizard.
This is Kelvin Anderson, owner of the world famous VIP Records, and you listen to my man Tony A the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
Yeah, what up? It's Lil Black, you the brown super baller, and you checking out Roadium Radio with the homeboy Tony A the Wizard.
Yo, what's cracking? It's your boy OG Big Wicked, Real Ones Apparel, Orange County. Out here with my boy Tony A the Wizard, Roadium Radio. Yo, make sure to peep it. Peace.
Que tranza raza, aquí su servidor, Sinful El Pecador, and you listening to Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A the Wizard.
Check, what's up? It's your boy Capital I Man from the Mexican Crew, and you're tuning into Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A the Wizard. Motherfucker's a legend. Bow!
What's up, y'all? This is Chris the Glove, and you're watching the Roadium Radio Show on Tony Vision on YouTube.
What's up? This is Leo Farsayer, aka the Dragon, the Serpent, the Spear. I'm on Roadium Radio with my boy Tony the Wizard.
Hey man, Nick B and Eric B, the Baker Boys in the house, hanging out with Roadium Radio and the one and only Tony the Wizard.
Tony the Wizard, aka Kylo Ren, right here on YouTube, Sundays and Wednesdays.
Tony Vision, subscribe
Tony
now.
Tony Vision, yeah.
Boys, big baby.
What's good with it? This is old Creep, aka Jay Stompanato. I'm putting it down for Orange County on the Roadium Radio Show by West Coast legend DJ Tony A. We up and out this bitch.
What's up with it, dog? It's West Coast Gilly on Roadium Radio with the legend Tony A the Wizard on Tony Vision. You know what it is, West Coast to the fullest. Believe that.
What's up, everybody? This is Stefan Royer listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Doughboy Tony. You're tuned into Roadium Radio with West Coast legend Tony A the Wizard.
What up? It's your boy Lottie the G, straight out of Santa Ana, Sierra, and we right here live in the mix with the West Coast legend Tony A the Wizard on Roadium Radio, Tony Vision on YouTube.
Yo, what's up, world? This is Cool 187, above the law in the building. And you're tuned in to Roadium Radio with my man Tony A the Wizard. Blah!
What's up? This is Darren Vegas. You're on Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard. Real West Coast hip hop history right here.
Yo, what up? Sleepy Malo in the house here at the Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A the Wizard, giving us our voice back. One of the realest motherfuckers I know.
What's up, homie? Show me Frankie Quinones, a.k.a. Creeper from Cholo T, and you're listening to Tony A the Wizard on Roadium Radio. That's what's up right there.
Hey, yo, what's up, man? It's Cujo the Savage. I'm right here with Tony A the Wizard, Roadium Radio. Everybody stay tuned, man. It's a motherfucking hit.
Yo, shout out to Roadium Radio, Tony A. the Wizard, your boy Pablo Nunez right here in the studio. Be about it, people.
¿Qué onda, muchacho? Ahí viene este miro. King with the Black Sican and Negrito de Los Angelitos, and you're checking out that Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
¿Qué hubo, Raza? This is Wicked from the Brown Side here on Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard. You know.
What up? It's your homeboy Infinite TGM, chilling with Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio. Make sure you guys go check that out.
What's good? What's good? It's your boy Spanky Local, and you tuning in to Roadium Radio with that motherfucking legend, Mr. Tony A. You know what time it is, West.
Hey, what up? This Rebello the Dawn.
And this is Dominator.
And we came straight from the 805 ready to slap that motherfucking meat on your grill, bitch.
Roadium Radio, Central Coast Click.
What up? What up with it? This your boy OG Magoo, Los Angeles airbrush artist. Big chillin' on site with the homie Tony the Wizard on Roadium Radio. All gas, no brakes. Let's get it.
Man, you now listening to LA Icon, man. Right here live with Tony A, the motherfucking Wizard on Roadium Radio. Blah! What's up? This is A.DA, the Spanish Fly, with that reintroduction right here on Roadium Radio with my boy, the Wizard, Tony A.
Yeah, what up? It's the Spanish Fly MC, Big MOC, Mr. Most MC, on the Roadium Radio Show, baby, with Tony A, the Grand Wizard. Let's go.
Johnny D, the Spanish Fly, on Roadium Radio. Your one and only Theo with the Giant Cheeto.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Trish Toledo, and I'm over here with Tony A, John motherfucking Elkins, and DG Media at Roadium Radio. Make sure you tune in every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl Blanca. Bobby D presents Uncle Snoop's Army. Chilling right here at Roadium Radio with Tony A, the Wizard. Make sure you tune in Wednesdays and Sundays at 7 p.m. on YouTube.
What up, West Coast and all hip-hop fans? This is your girl, Violet Brown, and I'm here with Tony A. the Wizard.
Yo, this is Daniel Jones, the D to the motherfucking G Media Clips. Here with your boy, Tony A. the Wizard on the Roadium Radio Show.
Check, 1 2 1 2. This is Roger Live, and you are in tune to the sounds of Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio, West Coast.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 200. Before we continue our interview, I want to give a special shout out to someone. Today's her birthday, and I want to give a shout out to Cisco Zamora. This guy flew all the way from Odessa, Texas to be here for the 200th episode here on Roadium Radio. So much love, much respect to him, Cisco and D Zamora. I love you guys and I support you guys. Happy birthday. Hope you guys enjoy your stay. So, but we're going to celebrate. So without further ado, once again, Julio G in the place to be.
Happy birthday, Cisco. Yes, enjoy Libra season, bro. That's what I was telling them. My birthday's coming up on the 11th, actually. So
let's jump right back in. You know, Julio, I wanted to ask you, brothers or sisters?
No, only child.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
only child.
I think that's probably the only thing. You know, I always ask everybody that, even though I may know the answer. But
Tony's like my brother, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, because we're family. Because his 3 kids are my godkids.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm their godfather.
Yeah.
I'm their Nino. So we're related through family that way. You know what I mean? But I always look at him as a big brother.
Yes.
Because he was the one that he was just Tony was there at the right time for me, like as a person. You know what I mean? At my age, and he was just, and I looked up to him already as a DJ.
Right.
And so, you know, we finished off talking about high school and how I met my friend and let me practice, and that way, senior year, we're out there doing backyard parties with who you call Cypress Hill today, but back then they were called DVX, and we were doing that. We were doing a couple of little shows here and there with. Remember Rory Kaufman?
The name sounds very
He was from
familiar.
1580 KDAY also. But Rory Kaufman, what he would do is he would do like community, the community stuff.
Okay.
So he would always do like these talent shows in the hood, and that's how we went to like one of them, and then he liked kind of what we were doing, and he invited us to like 3 other ones. So we would get in my mom's little car, and this is like in my senior year of high school, and we would go do these little talent shows, just trying to get on, just trying to, you know, it's funny looking back. We didn't really know what we were doing, but we did know. We wanted to be something in hip hop. We wanted to be respected.
Of course.
To be all that was kind of our thing. But like you said, it wasn't about no money. I don't think we ever even talked about, oh, one day we'll be rich. I don't think we ever, that I remember, we never had that conversation.
Right.
We just wanted to be respected. That was a big deal for us, like as kids, bro.
We wanted to be respected, and we were doing what we loved.
Mm-hmm.
The money, if it came, it came.
It wasn't about it. It was just funny. I don't know how we survived. We just would make it happen, and somebody's mom's car would borrow, or Pops' car.
Yeah.
I mean, Sendog's dad too. He let us borrow his car from time to time.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean. So everybody, you know, kind of chipped in their own way. You know what I mean.
You know, Julio, I just want to interject something really fast, because I know you've been a radio personality. I know you've been around the music for a long time. When I say radio personality, on 1580 KDAY and other radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
But me being 53 years old, this is the hardest. This is why, and I want the public to understand why I'm having, not with individuals, but just with this generation, that everything is chasing the money, chasing the dollar. It's about the money. It's about this. It's about. We just finished saying we did it for the love of it, but we were not chasing money. So this is why I'm having such a hard time. Again, not with certain individuals, but just with the generation in general, that everything is all about chasing. You know, they flower out all their money and throw in $100 bills, and like, for us, it wasn't even about that.
It wasn't.
You know, I wouldn't even throw on my records like that.
Yeah.
You know,
We didn't. You never see me with jewelry. I don't do the jewelry game. I don't do the thing like that. That was never really my thing. It was
Same.
more about respect. Like I said, exactly. It's Tony G. You seen, he was never about no.
Right.
You know, it just wasn't our thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were more about, like I said, it's a respect thing. It was just, we wanted to be respected, because it comes all, like I said, it goes all back to breakdancing.
Yes.
We just come from hip hop.
Yes.
I want to be very clear about that. We are hip hop. Period.
Absolutely.
You know, I may commercialize at moments for certain situations, for reasons on the radio and things like that, but my core, Sendog, myself, Be Real, Muggs, all of us, we come from Mellow Man Ace 2. We all come from hip hop. And so that was our thing, you know what I mean? The respect part of it. We wanted to be respected, you know what I mean? So that's why I said we were doing those things in high school, and that's how, you know, we kind of started going and kind of like getting out there and trying to do something outside of just a backyard party.
Right.
Then in like about, I want to say this is like 86. I got in 1580 KDAY in September of 1986.
Okay.
But I graduated high school in June of 1986, and I was still 17. I turned 18 in October, so when I got into 1580 KDAY, I was still legally 17.
Yeah.
But in between that, so back to my friend Ray, the turntables that I used to use got stolen. Yeah, they got stolen. From a situation, not from me, from a situation. He had them. He had them. But something happened. They didn't stolen from me. Something happened in a situation where they came up missing, right? Whatever the situation was. So I had nowhere to practice. Now there was a club in Southgate called the Capri. Today it's called the Lido. It's on Southern and Long Beach Boulevard, and do like all the Mexican stuff, the Spanish stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
But then back then they used to have Sunday nights was hip hop. So I would go there for free and just to DJ, just so I can practice.
So you can practice.
So one night, a friend of mine named Joe, he says, "Hey, there's this guy here. He wants to battle you."
Oh.
And then this was a Sunday night, and there wasn't a lot of people that night. It was one of those like okay nights. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so, okay, well, I threw on Planet Rock. I said, I'm gonna cut up Planet Rock. So I started cutting up Planet Rock. And then my friend Joe, he says, nah, man, he just wants to meet you. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we go outside, and somebody else went to DJ. I go outside, and we go to the parking lot, and he introduces me as DJ Muggs.
Oh, no shit.
So he introduces me to DJ Muggs. And Muggs also was a breakdancer. People don't know that about Muggs.
Okay.
Muggs had, when I talked to him at that time, he had just finished like a tour in the Philippines.
Really?
And he had gotten, I guess, that money, and he had bought some turntables and a mixer. And so he tells me, hey, man. Oh, no, so we're having this conversation. He's telling me that about his touring thing. And I'm like, that's crazy. I used to break dance. You know what I mean? Like, and we just kicked it off. It was weird. It was like we just kind of clicked real quick. Like he became like cool with me real quick because of the breakdancing stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, man, I got some turntables in my house. I'm like, damn, dog, I got nowhere to practice, man. I got to come all the way up here just so I can get it in one time a week. You know how it is, Tony.
Of course.
You had to practice, bro.
Of course.
When records come out every day, you got to go get another record. And if you can't practice on that record, how do you know where the break is at? How, you know, that's back then, DJing. You know what I mean? So he's like, hey, come to my house. You can practice with me. I'm like, oh, man, would you let me, man? Oh, man, thank you, bro. But I don't have a car right now. He goes, where you live at? I said, I'm right down the street in Linwood. And he lived in Bell Gardens. And he's like, okay, I'll come pick you up. And he had a little whip. And so he would come he picked me up maybe about like 3 or 4 times. And I went to his house. And one time maybe I got a ride over there. And so I would go and practice with DJ Muggs. And we would practice together.
That's dope.
And he knew how to DJ when I met him, you know what I mean? But I had a couple of things that he didn't do, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like I was teaching him. It was like, you know, when you practice together,
right?
It's like, oh damn, how'd you do that? Oh, do it like this, bro. You know, like this. And
iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, for sure. And then he had cool records to cut. You know what I mean? Like I remember he had back in like AC/DC, Black and Black. That was one of the first I was like, oh, you got this? Don't. You know what I mean? It was just It was just fun. He had these cool little rock records. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I never had that record. You know what I mean? So that's what I was doing. That's how me and Muggs became friends.
Okay.
And then, so I think I might have judged that contest that you were with, and I'm not sure if this guy, Jesse Jess from Fastlane, performed that night. Because I was DJing for him. Okay.
I remember this perfectly.
Okay.
This was actually earlier that year.
Okay.
And that was another time that I saw you.
You seen me with Jesse
Yes.
Yes.
Because, Young Ladies Drive Me Crazy. Dope ass fucking song.
Big song, bro.
By Fastlane. And then I see you DJing. I walk into San Marico Hall and I see you DJing. I remember because you had It's Time.
I had Time.
You had it on 45.
I did.
And
I used to cut it at 45, bro, that fast.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit, that's fucking Julio.
Yeah.
You know?
That was my first thing that I did, and that came through a friend of mine named, I believe Louis Romo introduced me to him. And so, now Louis Romo is the person that takes me to 1580 KDAY. That's how I get to 1580 KDAY. But I met, it's a guy named Jesse Jess, and he was from a group called Fastlane, for people that want to know, look at the record up. The record's called Young Ladies, but that record was a big like electro record at the time in LA. Every club played that.
Yes.
So he was out here doing some shows and he needed a DJ. And so that's how I ended up doing some shows with him. And then in between that, he knows this guy that just signed the group Nice and Wild.
Yes.
And they had that song Diamond Girl.
Yes.
And so he's like, and have you ever seen the original record? There was a picture of them on the actual record. And once again, back to my childhood thing, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, I want my face on a record. Like, I want my name on a record. I this is my next thing I want, trying to challenge myself to do. So Jesse Jess says, hey, man, this guy, he wants to sign some rappers. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go get the guys.
Right.
So I go back to Cypress, pull up with Jesse Jess in the car. I'm like, hey, this dude is looking for somebody, and we need to make a demo. What's a demo, man? A demo, like, you don't have a demo? No, we don't have a demo. What's that? We don't know. We're kids. Now, when I went to DJ at Muggs' house, I remember he had a little recorder. And I asked him, what's that, Muggs? He goes, oh, you can record like with the mic. You can record into this thing. It was just a 2-track recorder.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, I call Muggs. I go, hey, Muggs, hey, man, can I bring my friends to your house, bro? We need to do a demo. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, come through. So I bring Sendog, Mello, I want to say Tomahawk Funk. I think B Real came that day too, and we did the first like demo for them. This is before they're called Cypress Hill, and it was over Houdini Friends, and I think we might have done 5 Minutes of Funk or a different record. Now, mind you, we kind of had to do the routine from the backyard because we could only do it in one take.
Yeah, on one take.
It was a 2-track, you know what I mean? So that happened, but nothing ever came from that. But that was kind of our beginning into, you know, that whole thing. Now, a few months later, Tony G gets me into 1580 KDAY. And so that kind of happens through my friend Louis. There's a guy named Louis Romo that's a real big promoter in Los Angeles. Okay, at that time, and you're going to remember the Players After Dark, Teddy Boys, and all that era, right? Shout out to Cesar De Niro, too, from the Teddy Boys, too. I really believe they ought to make a movie on those guys because what they done and the impact they had in the club scene in Los Angeles was at a turning point where it was from disco to the it was like coming out of disco into the freestyle music and into the electro and to that dance, the Will to Power, No Sarah Summer Times, and
the freestyle stuff.
The freestyle, you know what I mean? So they were there for that, you know what I mean? And before, but they caught those big events. So if you ever remember the 80s, you always seen Teddy Boys, Players After Dark, Pico Rivera Sports Arena. It's 10,000 people, you know what I mean?
That was that whole high energy / disco, Line, Forbidden Lover, Living on Video.
Lover, Taps,
it was beautiful time,
Beautiful time, especially for Hispanics.
Yes.
Because that was like our music, bro.
Yes.
Like that was our thing. Yeah, we liked hip hop. It was barely getting going, but this was what we were doing. We were doing the freestyle, the disco, and that was, you know, those are fun times for us, man.
Julio, I got to bring something up. One day you came to my house here, but it wasn't here. It was the one where I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the realistic Newmark mixer, some used 1200s. And I remember you showed me something that I had never seen. And you were telling me, oh, Tony showed me this, speaking of Tony G.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because you know what? I didn't have the Newmark anymore. I had I think it was a Newmark, what was it, like 15 something?
I think I remember that. You 15, had the smaller one?
Yeah.
It was the smaller one. Yeah, I remember that.
And I was transforming with the little clickers, the phono light buttons. And then you told me, no, do it this way with the fader.
Yeah.
And I had never seen that.
Yeah, that's Tony showed me that.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit. And it had a whole totally different feel to it.
I'll tell you the whole story behind that.
Yeah.
There's a crazy story behind that.
Now, to me, and I had shared this with Tony, that you guys were way ahead of your time when it came to that, because today everybody's doing this just with the fader.
Right, absolutely.
You know.
Because it's smoother.
Yes.
That was a very difficult, thick fader. It wasn't made for that. It was strong too, so it was like you had to really, you know, it was very, you had to really hit it. It was not today. It's just like you know what I mean? It's just butter. It's like butter.
See, for those of you guys don't know that, that's DJ Talk.
Yeah, exactly. It's DJ Talk. Exactly. So going back to Louis, he was the one that took me, because I knew Louis's little brother, Sergio. He said one day, you want to go to 1580 KDAY? Because they were already doing the high energy show with Greg Mack on Saturday nights later at night.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh yeah. And I had to go ask my mom. I'm like, Mom, it's my senior year of high school. My mom wanted me to graduate because I was going to be like the only one in my family at that point to have graduated high school. My mom only went to the 3rd grade. So my mom, she didn't really know about education like that, but she knew that I was close enough to, I want to see you graduate high school.
Yeah.
So I remember I was like, Mom, please, this is very important. Like, she's like, you better go to school tomorrow, man. You cannot miss school tomorrow. You're almost there, you know? And so I promise I won't. So I went to 1580 KDAY. Louis takes me, and I meet Greg Mack first, and I would, now mind you, as a kid in high school, I look up to Tony G.
Yeah.
I'm listening to everything he does. I love Joe Cooley. I love Dem Walk. I loved all of them.
Yeah.
But Tony, I remember one day, I used to record his traffic jams.
Yeah.
Right? But Tony used to mix a lot. He wouldn't cut up records all the time. This one day, I'm about to cut the record off. I never forget this, man. I was about to just hit stop on it. Like, okay, that's cool. He was just mixing today.
Right.
And he goes in a perfect beat. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I hear it coming in. Oh, he's getting a perfect beat. Oh, please tell me he's going to cut it up. And he does. Beat this. Boom, 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 boom. Bigger beat this. Boom, 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 boom. Bigger beat this. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm getting this recorded. I'm like, oh my God. Because what I would do is I would get that recording, and then I only had a little turntable that was raggedy, and a turn knob mixer. I didn't start with the fader.
Right.
I started with the turn knob that my cousin Joe gave me that was messed up on one side, only had one side. So I had put it on the floor, and I would sit there and I would put Tony's scratch, and I would just try to dick it, dude. Can I just get the dit?
Just the beginning
just
part.
That and the first dial, when I got it, because it's hard, Tony, with the
yes, of
very
course.
difficult, very difficult. So that's why when I met Tony, I walked into 1580 KDAY and I see this big, like, buff dude with a t-shirt on, just Mexican dude. He looked like a Mexican dude.
Right.
And I thought he was like a security guard there, right? And then this 15, 20 minutes it went by. He didn't pass by me a few times. Like, and then somebody, Greg Mack says, hey, Tony G, da-da-da-da. And then he goes, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, oh, shit.
That's him.
That's Tony G. Oh, and we had been having a conversation before this about a record by the Imperial Brothers. And I told him, I got 2 copies. You can have my 2 copies, dog. I'll bring them next time. You DJ too? Yeah, I DJ too. But then I find out this is Tony G.
Right.
And I was blown away because I was like, oh my God, this is the person that I've been. Back then, you didn't see people's faces, dog. I didn't know what he looked like. I knew he was Tony Gonzalez, and in my name is Julio Gonzalez. So I was like, that's why I am Julio G. I am Julio G because I was mimicking and trying to be Tony G.
Right.
Not trying to be him, but this is who I looked up to.
Yes.
As a kid, I was like, damn, man, his last name's Gonzalez. Damn, like mine. Damn, I gotta be Julio G. That just sounds. I gotta be Julio G like Tony. Never thinking I'd ever meet this guy.
Right.
So then that's when we met, and then they were doing some mix thing, and it was over. And then Lewis tells Tony, he goes, "Hey Tony." Lewis is like that. He's just like a funny guy. He says, "Hey Tony, my boy right here will fuck you up, bro."
Oh shit.
And I'm like, that's like, oh no, dog. I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. Show.
Right.
Hold up, player. Like, nah, show him what's up, dude. I'm like, oh no. He's like, and Tony's like, no, let me see what you got, dude. And he put on It's Time. And I'm like, okay, so no, this is no lie, man. When I'm putting the needle on the record, my hand is shaking.
I've been there.
And he's like, damn, you all right, man? And I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, man, I'm just nervous. Cause I'm looking at this dude, he's this close to me.
Right.
And man, I tried to get down, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it, man. I was trying, but it wasn't it. So I have headphones on, mind you. So I take the headphones off. Oh no, Greg Max says, all right, let my guy get on. And so I take the headphones off and I give them to him. He goes, now go ahead and hold them. And he just fucking kills It's Time in front of me. But now I want you to understand something. He does it in front of me, but this is nothing that I've ever seen or heard him do on the radio. So it really throws me off.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God,
He's
guy's
got more.
like really fucking dope. Like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't know you did that. Like, it blew my mind. And then I'm wondering, how is he going, it's time, it's time, it's time. I'm thinking, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
And then when it was all over, I'm like, hey, man, how did you do that without the headphones? And he's like, look, man, I'm going to teach you how to mark your records. This is what you do. You got to mark the record. And that one thing that he taught me just changed my
your whole life, pretty
everything.
much. Yeah.
I went to home and everything. I can line a record with the line. I was tagging everything because I was like, oh, now I understand how you bring this back to them. Oh, my God, dude, damn. So he tells me, hey, you pretty good, man. He goes, why don't you come back next week and we'll get down again. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I come back next week. But this whole week I've been practicing.
Yeah, so you ready.
Now I was more ready. So we got busy on clear this time.
Okay.
So now I get more busy. And he's like, all right, you got a little something, man. And he tells me, you should have came out to the tryout. And I'm like, oh, damn, man, I should have went to the tryout because I was in my senior year.
Right.
I know what tryout you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, damn, that's when they got Joe and them walking everybody. I remember hearing it on the radio, and it was my senior year of high school. I was like, oh, shit, they became mix masters. And so Tony says, oh, man, you should have came to the tryout. Woo, woo. So now I see Tony again at some Fast Lane shows.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I ran into him again. So I run into him again, and he says to me, hey, man, I want you to come and I want you to battle this dude for me. Come up here next Saturday. We're at the Casa Camino Real. Come over here next Saturday. There's this guy that wants to battle me, but I ain't gonna get busy for this dude until you battle him first. If he can beat you, then I'll get busy on him. But he got to go through you because I'm not gonna sit here wasting my time just for whatever he just wants to pop up. And that's how Tony was. He didn't want to just be scratching away for all you guys just for nothing, right?
For nothing, yeah.
And so I came back the next week. I practiced. I was like, so the guy didn't show up. He's like, man, the guy didn't show up. Man, fuck him. And so he says, hey, I'm gonna make you a mix master. I'll never forget where I was standing. I was standing right at the corner of Washington and where the side street is, right there in the corner, just me and him. I'm gonna make you a mix master, man. I'm like, okay, man, thank you, bro. All right, cool. What does that mean, right? I don't know. I get my Creator Records. I go back to my mom's car. I drive home. I'm coming down Alameda, and I'm no lie, Tony. I'm driving down the street, and in my head, I'm saying to myself, he said he's going to make you a mix master. How though? How? Wait a minute. Did he say I'm going to make you a mix master? He didn't say that. I'm questioning myself. Did he say that? He didn't say that. He did say that. But how? So a couple days later, he calls me on a Wednesday. He goes, and I thought it was my friend Bobby playing games with me.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, Bobby, stop playing, because I told him about Tony. Oh man, I met Tony G. He's like, no, this is Tony G. I go, Bobby, stop playing. He's like, who's Bobby? It's Tony G, man. I go, Tony G from KDAY. Tony G? Yeah, man, what's up? I go, man, what's up? He goes, bring your records today, man, to the radio station. Here's the address. Meet me there at 7 o'clock. Bring your records. Okay. Now in my head, I'm thinking he wants to borrow my records.
Right.
This is what I'm thinking. This is how stupid I was. I'm thinking Tony G wants to borrow my records. So I put a crate together of what I thought he would want to play.
Okay.
Because listening to him so much, right? So I show up and I'm like, here, Tony. He goes, yeah, you're going to get on today. I'm like, what? Yeah, you're going to DJ today. I'm going to have you take my spot. 9 o'clock. The 9 o'clock Mixmaster show. Now, I say that not to take no credit from Greg Mack, because Greg Mack had to okay it.
Of course.
Like, he was cool with me being a Mixmaster, but it was really Tony that pushed him, like, we need to get another Hispanic Mixmaster.
Yeah.
That was kind of the thing. They wanted to get another Hispanic Mixmaster too, because the Hispanics were getting into 1580 KDAY, you know what I mean? They were starting to listen more because of the freestyle music and the high energy show and all that stuff. So, boom, you know. I had my first mix that I get off, and Tony tells me, he says, okay, listen, man, check this out. I want you to mix. I don't want you to cut. Cut here and there, but don't cut like that. I want you to focus on just getting in and out of records. I want you to mix. Now, there was somebody else in the room that was recording their mix.
Right.
And they were doing more cutting. He's like, I don't want you to do that. Let them go do that. I want you to mix. Think of the club. I want you to think of that and just cut up a little bit.
That's right.
But I knew what he was talking about, because that's what goes back down to that time when I heard him cut up, beat this at the end of that mix.
Right.
Right? So that I understood what he meant. Find your pockets where you're going to get busy on them and get out of it. And then mix and play records and have more records playing in the hour as much as you can. Fill that hour up as much as you can with as much music. And that's where I learned how to play for the radio, which is a big difference. And I learned that from Tony, because Tony taught me that. He taught me how to read a crowd, what to play, what time to play some, what not to play.
That's amazing. You said how to read a crowd. I remember Joe Cooley saw me how to cut and scratch, and he said, look, let me tell you something. He goes, that's all dope and everything, but he asked me one question that I never forgot, and somebody reiterated that the other day when they asked me about, do I still DJ? But he said, but can you rock a party? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, I know how to scratch. And he said, no, can you rock a party?
No, that's different.
Yeah, and as I'm a teenager, I'm like, okay, I got to learn that. Mm-hmm. And it's all reading the crowd.
Reading the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I learned that from Tony from the beginning, and how to approach DJing, you know what I mean, on the radio.
Right.
So Tony was the first person, he handed me probably on my second or third mix on 1580 KDAY, he handed me Public Enemy Time Bomb. Nobody ever heard of them.
Right.
So I'm credited for breaking Public Enemy in Los Angeles for that time.
Oh.
That record. You know, and then later on Rebel Without a Pause too, but at that time, Time Bomb. And I remember when Tony handed it to me, he goes, here man, play this. And I'm like, Time Bomb, Public Enemy, what is this, some rock record? Because Public Enemy, it just sounded like some rock band to me. I was like, and he goes, nah man, it's dope. It's so dope. and I played it. But have you ever heard the record Time Bomb from Public Enemy? He doesn't stop rapping till the end. And I remember being like, and then, you know, we used to record on the reel-to-reel, so it wasn't like we could stop and go back.
Right.
We had to like go, bro. You got to go. That was the thing. You got to go, bro. We ain't no stopping and going back. So I play a Time Bomb, and then I find, you know, I mix out of it. But that was another thing that Tony did for me. He would tell me sometimes, hey, you should play this record. You know, he had a really good ear all the way around for music. Like, he was just he's very talented, very talented. We had very good ear at that time.
One time, I'll tell you how I met Tony. I know he won't remember it, but I shared it when he was here. I waited all night to go up to him at Casa Camino, okay, because that was the spot. That was the spot, yeah. Okay, and I saw him. He looked big because he was working out. He had a tank top. I still remember it. It looked like it was turquoise or something. And I saw him walk, and he had like a mullet at the time. And I'm looking at him like, in my mind, that's fucking Tony G right there.
Yeah,
to us, these are, at least to me, that celebrities.
For sure.
You know?
I call them hood celebrities, bro.
Yes.
Hood celebrities at the
Ghetto
time,
fabulous. Absolutely. So I waited, and at the end, the lights come on, and the security, you got to go. Oh, I'm going to talk to him right now. Okay, you got 5 minutes. So I finally, and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell am I going to ask him? So here's where you come in. I walked up to him and I was like, excuse me. And he turns around and goes, what's up? And I get so fucking intimidated that he said, what's up to me? And then I was like, do you know Julio? And he goes, yeah, what's up? And he puts his ear. And I was like, yeah, that's my friend. Can you just tell him I said, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. And Tony is really the nicest person.
Yes,
he really is a very nice person, man. So I will say this about Tony. One quality that he has, DJing is one thing, but then we got into production.
Yes.
And then he helped me so much with that also. But one quality that he has that I've always admired about him, he's very patient. And he's very knowledgeable about things that he's talking about.
Yeah.
He likes to research to the end, so he's very knowledgeable about things. So, but when he teaches you something, he doesn't be like, he's not one of them people that are like, okay, man, you just don't get it, dude.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, you just stop, man. You don't get it. He was very patient. And I always like now that I'm older, I look back on that I appreciate that about him so much, because it could have threw me off when I was young.
Right.
But he never like discouraged me. He never made me feel like, you ain't getting it, man. He would just be like, look, dude, it's just like this, man. Just try it again. Just look, man. Take your time. Look, I'm going to teach it to you again. Yeah. And then little by little. And I'm like, damn. Now I look back, I'm like, damn, I appreciate so much patience with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but he was helping me. He molded me to become a producer, to become a DJ, eventually to get on the radio and become a good radio DJ.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I learned from him that I applied to that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So much respect to Tony G. I love him, man. He's just the best, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely a West Coast legend.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about all those people that you talked about, how you met them and how you worked with them. But I want to know about you getting into production. What was some of your first drum machines that you were into? Were you an SP1200 guy, MPC 60 type of guy? We'll talk about all that.
All good.
Okay, everybody. Once again, call somebody, text somebody. You know the rest. So I want to give a big shout out to everyone that's on the live chat. Let's keep it lit. 200th episode. Let's go 100 more. Julio G's in the motherfucking place to be. We'll be back 10 minutes.
Hey, how you doing? It's me, little Eazy-E, Eric Wright, and a lot of you know me, know I like to smile. And to thank for my beautiful smile, I want to thank Occidental. That's Occidental Hollywood. So check this out. For all your dental needs, be sure to come to them, because they'll be there to take care of you. That's Occidental in Hollywood. Check them out.
Yo, call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch.
What's up with it, dog? It's West Coast Gilly on Roadium Radio with the legend Tony A. the Wizard on Tony Vision. You know what it is, West Coast to the fullest. Believe that.
What's up, everybody? This is Stefan Orior listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Doughboy Tony. You're tuned into Roadium Radio with West Coast legend Tony A. the Wizard.
What up, it's your boy Lottie the G, straight out of Santa Ana, CA, and we right here live in the mix with the West Coast legend, Tony A. the Wizard, on Roadium Radio, Tony Vision on YouTube.
Yo, what's up, world? This is Cool 187, above the law in the building. And you tuned in to Roadium Radio with my man Tony A. the Wizard.
What's up, this is Darren Vegas. You're on Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard. Real West Coast hip-hop history right here.
Yo, what up? Sleepy Malo in the house, here at the Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A. the Wizard, giving us our voice back. One of the realest motherfuckers I know.
What's up, homie? Show me Frankie Quinones, a.k.a. Creeper from Cholo Fi, and you're listening to Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio. That's what's up right there.
Hey, yo, what's up, man? It's Cujo the Savage. I'm right here with Tony A. the Wizard, Roadium Radio. Everybody stay tuned, man. It's a motherfucking hit.
Yo, shout out to Roadium Radio, Tony A. the Wizard, your boy Pablo Nunez right here in the studio. Be about it, people.
¿Qué onda, muchacho? Ahí viene este miro. Kimo the Blaxican, el negrito de Los Angelitos, and you're checking out that Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
Yo, Raza, this is Wicked from the brown side here on Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard. You know.
What up, it's your homeboy Infinite TGM, chilling with Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio. Make sure you guys go check that out.
What's good? It's your boy Spanky Loco, and you tuning in to Roadium Radio with that motherfucking legend, Mr. Tony A. You know what time it is, West.
Hey, what up? This Rebello the Dawn.
And this Dominator.
And we came straight from the 805 ready to slap that motherfucking meat on your grill, bitch.
Roadium Radio, Central Coast Click.
What up?
What up with it? This your boy OG Magoo, Los Angeles airbrush artist, big chillin' on site with the homie Tony the Wizard on Roadium Radio. All gas, no brakes. Let's get it.
Man, you now listening to LA Icon, man, right here live with Tony A. the motherfucking Wizard on Roadium Radio.
Yo, what's up? It's Bella. I'm here on Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A. the Wizard. Stay tuned.
Yo, it's Ray Monique on Roadium Radio with Tony A. the motherfucking Wizard. Tune in and subscribe.
What's going down, everybody? This is Big Rich G here at Roadium Radio with Tony A. You guys got to check this out, man. Don't miss out. Tune in.
It's your boy Producer A here at Roadium Radio. It's your boy Tony A. Make sure y'all subscribe every Sunday, Wednesday, 7 p.m. with the dopest podcast popping in the motherfucking West Coast. Make sure y'all subscribe. Peace.
Yeah, this is Pablito here at Roadium Radio. I'm here with Tony A. the Wizard. Tune in.
What's cracking? It's your boy Noel G in the house, aka Hector. You guys know what time it is, right here with the Roadium Radio Show, hosted by your boy Tony A. the Wizard. Ha ha! Keep listening. We got something good for you.
What's good, beautiful ladies? It's your boy MC Magic, Tony A. the Wizard. You already know. Roadium Radio Show. Turn it up. Zzz.
Yo, what's hood good with y'all? This your boy Big Prodigy from the legendary South Central Cartel, and I'm over here chilling with my homeboy Tony A. the Wizard on the Roadium Radio Show. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to the page on YouTube. And by the way, check out that interview with yours truly. You dig? West.
What's up, guys? This is Mayuto. You're watching Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Little Silent from DOTG, the voice of the ghetto, man.
Tune in every Sunday and Wednesday to Roadium Radio. You already know, hosted by the legend himself, Tony A. the Wizard, man. Just don't miss out, man. That should be active out here.
What's up, everyone? This is Antonio Pelayo. I'm here at Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard. Make sure to subscribe.
Yo, what's up, everybody? LA Baseball Head here, also known as LAFC Soccer Head, chilling on Roadium Radio with my homeboy, Tony A. the Wizard.
What it do? DJ Joe Cooley. You chilling with me, DJ Tony A. the Wizard, and Roadium Radio. You heard me?
What up, everyone? This is Solita. Tune into Roadium Radio, hosted by Tony A. the Wizard.
What up, Susie Q in the motherfucking building. I'm here chilling with Tony A, the motherfucking Wizard. Roadium Radio, YouTube. You guys check it out, subscribe, spank it easy.
Yo, it's Shady Boy right here with Tony A the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
What's poppin' with it, family? It's your boy Jokes Loves Life, and you are now tuned in to Roadium Radio with the one and only Tony A, the motherfucking Wizard. That's right, love life, y'all.
It's your boy Wito Trees, Roadium Radio in the house, Tony A the Wizard, what's up?
What's up, it's your boy Panther on Roadium Radio. Tune in with your boy Tony A the Wizard, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yeah.
This is Murray Brumfield, aka Mexicali Slim, Familia Records, and you rolling with Roadium Radio with Tony A.
Yo, what up, it's your boy DJ Kazam. We're right here live, Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A the Wizard. That's what's up. Ooh.
What's up, you guys? It's your girl Mariah Avila. I'm here on Roadium Radio with Tony the Wizard. Please subscribe, like, and comment.
Yo, what's cracking? It's your homeboy, Mr. Motherfucking Junebug. And you just tuned in to Roadium Radio with Tony A, the motherfucking Wizard. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel. You know.
Juvole Raza, it's your homeboy Hypnotic right here in Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard. Make sure you subscribe, like, and do all that. Don't forget to comment. Much love.
Yo, this is Grincho Brown on Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard. Keeping this shit popping, all West Coast, all love. Shout out to my Raza, we getting it.
Hey, look, this is Chunks, the San Diego All-Star, and you are now tuned in to Roadium Radio right here with Tony A the Wizard. Tap in.
What's up, it's your girl Carolyn Rodriguez here at Roadium Radio. Make sure you tune in every Wednesday and Sunday to Tony A the Wizard.
What's up, y'all? This is DJ Tony G. You're listening to Roadium Radio with your homeboy, Tony A the Wizard. Roadium Radio.
Yo, what's cracking? It's 2Max with Mexican descent, visionary shapeshifters, Good Life Project Blowed, LA Underground Hip Hop. You're tuned in to Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard on Wednesdays and Sundays. LA Hip Hop will save the world. Ooh.
Ice Cube getting dumb at the Roadium with the funky drum, and you know my man Steve can get some. With a fool like Tony A when he plays stupid dope shit by WA. You wanna spray? Dumb motherfuckers, no doubt. And sucker DJ, get the fuck out. Tony A.
What did you say your name? What did you say your name?
Tony A.
I have won 1 million battles.
Lights, cameras, action, sound. Give me that mic, I'm about to go down.
Thinking of a master plan.
This story's funny. I met this girl and she had money.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio episode 200. And before we continue our interview, I'm going to give a big shout out to 310 Micheladas. Once again, he stopped by and blessed us with some pineapple micheladas. So make sure you guys hit him up at 310 Micheladas. He's no stranger to Roadium Radio, and he's always blessing us. So I'm going to sip on this while I talk to none other than the West Coast legend, Julio G. Thank you once again.
Sorry, everybody. I know I talk a little too much, but I apologize. I'm just having fun here, bro. So it's like time goes by real quick while we're talking, bro. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good,
because I feel like
bro.
I'm just talking to you as I forget this is even on, bro.
Exactly, bro.
You know, so I appreciate it, man. Thank you, bro.
Let's keep it pushing. So We talked about Casa Camino. We talked about Tony G. Let's talk a little bit how you got into the production. What was some of the first equipment that you were using? Because obviously we didn't have Pro Tools, we didn't have Logic, we didn't have Ableton. We literally had to use drum machines.
Yeah.
So what was your first? What was the first drum machine you were introduced to?
I want to say the 808.
Okay.
Yeah, because Tony had an 808 at the house.
Okay.
It might have been Unknown DJ's 808 that they gave Tony, or something to that effect. But it might have been Tony's. But we had an 808. Eventually, we had a 909. But I did mess with the 808. Tony taught me that somewhat, and then Tony got an SP 1200.
Okay.
And so a little bit of a backstory to that. So I'm getting out of, like I was telling you about DJ Muggs and introducing them to Cypress Hill, and after doing that demo, you know what I mean? I started to tell Muggs to just come over to the block a little more because Muggs smoke weed too. So I was like, hey man, come over to the block. You just come hang out. They cool, dog. They're some of my homies, dog. Like, they're cool people, dog. You can just come kick it. You ain't got to trip. Like, the block was open. Thank you to Sin Dog's mom and dad because they tolerated us because we took over that block. So, but in between this time is when I got on 1580 KDAY. So I kind of got off the block because I got really busy at 1580 KDAY. Just a lot was happening quick. You know? So I would pop up from time to time, but they stayed there working on stuff. And then around 89, Mello calls me. Mello Man Ace calls me. And his girlfriend at the time was friends with my girlfriend at the time. And that's how he had got my number, because I hadn't really seen them, you know what I mean? And so he called me one day and he's like, hey, I got an album deal with Capitol Records. And I just want to get your advice, you know? I'm trying to finish it and this and this. I'm like, hey man, you should go get with Tony G, man. Tony G got some dope beats.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, Tony G, the DJ? I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, I thought he was just a DJ. I said, nah, man, he produces too. But I didn't know if Tony produced.
Yeah.
I just seen him with the SP1200. He only had it for about 2 weeks. But I'm just bigging him up like, man, yeah, that's my boy, bro. He gets busy. He goes, all right, well, take me to his house. Can I meet him? I'm like, yeah, come pick me up. We'll go over there. I went down there. I took Mello down there, and I think that one of the first things they worked on was Rhyme Fighter, maybe.
Okay.
And then from there, Tony kind of finished that album off for him.
By the way, Rhyme Fighter was a dope ass fucking song, and I remember seeing you in the video.
Yeah.
That was the first time I seen the video. I knew it was you. And for those that you don't know, this guy was built.
Yeah, I was buff. Because of Tony.
Yeah.
Tony got me into all that, man. I learned so much from Tony. He used to like, you got to work out, bro. You got to, So I started to work out because of Tony. And so that's how that kind of came about. And then, Mentirosa came, and then Welcome to My Groove.
Yeah.
And then, boom, then that record took off for us, you know what I mean? So we're very blessed, you know what I mean? That this happened pretty quick. And then at the same time, he was working on La Raza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then those records came out in 1990, and both of them took off huge.
Big time.
But then that's where I started, was with an SP1200. I went and bought an SP1200 for myself. Mm-hmm. And then I started to make beats. But before that, I used to do them on 4-tracks.
Yes.
And so I would just have like ideas, and I would like 4-track them. Like if I would do the loop, I would play it, come back, play it, and then I would fill in the other one.
Right.
So it would be like a loop.
Right,
Yeah,
of course.
so I did a lot of BT Express in the beginning, a lot of those kind of records that, that were grooves, and I've been trying to loop them and find a way to loop until I finally got an SP1200, and then Tony taught me how to use that, how to empty it up, how to do all that, and then eventually we went to the MPC 60, and we had the SP1200, then we had SP1200 with the S950,
okay,
and then we got rid of that for an MPC 60. And then Eazy-E bought us our MPC 3000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Share with us how you met Eazy.
I met Eazy at Bell High School in 1987. We were doing a KDAY, 1580 KDAY Friday Night Live dance.
Friday Night Live.
Yeah. Wow. And so that's when we would go to different places and play live on the radio, starting at 10 o'clock at night. So we wanted to get into the Hispanic market, so Bell High School dances were very popular back then. Like everybody from everywhere would come to these Bell High School dances. So this one year, Greg Mack, he got Roxanne Shante and Bobby Brown to perform. Now, Bobby Brown, he didn't have My Prerogative and all that. This is before that. He had a record called 17. And so he was trying to promote that. He had just left New Edition. And there was the tennis courts, and there was the fence, and we were behind the fence with the turntables. And behind us were the classrooms, and that was like our little kick it room.
Right.
And so I'm DJing right here, and this is the people are out here. And I remember looking over, and I seen this dude that just looked just like a dope dealer, but fresh. And because I'm from Linwood and I grew up back and forth into Compton a lot, you know that was that era.
It's connected.
It was that era.
Yeah.
You know, you knew who drug dealers were.
Of course. Yeah.
You could just tell, like we were just talking about the chain, the nugget rings, the nugget bracelets. They had a look, and Eazy I always tell people this about Eazy. He was nothing of a fake. Right. He was authentic.
Yeah.
That's who that dude was when I met him. He looked dope. His hair, his curl, the way he had his hat. And I remember I was like, damn, who is this dude? What is he doing here? Like, he just didn't fit the situation, because this is all Hispanics.
Right.
And he just didn't, like I said, it didn't look like he should be there. And so I didn't ask nobody, and I just kept on DJing. And then eventually he comes over, he tugs on my shirt. He's like, hey, what's up, man? He goes, I got this record called Boys in the Hood. I want to see if you could play it. And, we're at a dance.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I can really do that, bro. But, so he waited a little bit. I said, give me a second. So he waited for about 2-3 songs, and then he pulled my shirt again. Hey, man, I said, hey, man, let me just play one more record, and I'm going to listen to it on this turntable in the headphone. And so he gave me the record. I put it on. And this is true story. Cruising down the street in my 6'4", jocking the freaks, clocking the dough, went to the park to get the scoop. Knuckleheads out there, cold shooting some hoop. I stop. I go, that sounds like 6 a.m, bro. Right from the rip. It didn't get past me. You didn't fool me.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that is 6 a.m.
Yeah.
6 a.m, police at my door. Fresh JEDI. That's Ice Cube mimicked that.
Yeah.
But he changed the wording of it and flipped it a little bit. But he says, yeah, but then Dr. Dre did this. And that's all he had to say.
That's all he had to say.
Oh, Dr. Dre did this, man. Why'd you say so, man? Oh, man. Because I loved Dr. Dre.
Of course.
Back then, I looked up to Dr. Dre. And I remember riding my bike to Compton, across the street from Sears, to buy Dr. Dre's surgery, bro. I rode my bike to Compton. Me and my boy Marcellus, rest in peace. You know what I mean? Risking our lives back then just to get Dr. Dre's surgery, bro. That's how far back and how much I looked up to Dr. Dre. And DJ Yellow too, you know what I mean? I like DJ Yellow too, but Dr. Dre. And so when he did that, I played I want to say maybe the first verse of it, and then I got out of it because it was like nobody knew the song, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but Greg Mack is the person that broke that record. I don't want to say because I've said that before, and I think people confuse that maybe, or I should be a little more clear. I don't want to say I broke that record, but I played it from that time real quick.
Right.
But Greg Mack was the one that really put that record on the radio and got it popping for Eazy, you know what I mean? And then so I got off the turntables, cool, and about an hour later, I hear it again. I swear, because I'm so distinctive. And I'm in that little classroom, and I pop out, I'm like, who's... Because we never played records twice. That was the thing, right?
It's true.
I look out, and who's on the turntables? Tony. And who's next to him? Eazy-E. So Eazy-E got Tony to play it too the same night, dog.
Wow.
That's how we met Eric originally. Both myself and Tony that night.
Wow.
And that's how we met him. And then after that, all that took off for him. And then I ran into him again in '89. After Mello had dropped Rhyme Fighter, we were at a club together. And it was so funny because me and Mello were there, and Eazy-E walks in. And he had a security, the two brothers that were his security, and everybody's following him. And it's crazy, bro, because I was across the room, and he sees me, and he comes straight to me with all these people. And he's like, what's up, man? And I'm like, oh, what's up? Because in my head, I'm like, he don't remember me like that. He's a celebrity now. He's big now. Like, this is a couple years ago. What's up, man? I'm like, oh, what's up, Eric? I said, hey, this Mello Man Ace. Hey, what's up, Mello? And I'm thinking like, damn, because, he dissed him in that Rhyme Fighter record, right? But I guess Eazy may have not heard it, or he wasn't tripping about it, because he was cool with him. Hey, what's up, Mello? How you doing, man? And he just asked me about Tony, and that was kind of our second kind of, another time that I got to see him again. And then later on, I produced some records for Terry B.
Terry
And,
B.
yeah,
She was signed to Ruthless.
Yeah, she was signed to Ruthless, and then wonderful person. I love working with Terry. She's a really cool person, and so I would see Eric because he would pay me. He had me meet him at the Woodland Hills Mall over there, and he would pay me, and that's why I seen him a couple more times. But then Greg Mack later brought him to the studio, and that's how we got into the Ruthless radio show and all that. You know what I mean? That came later.
Okay.
But that's how I met Eric. Originally was at Bell High School at that dance.
I had a question because you brought up Roxanne Shante and Bobby Brown. Did they perform that night?
They did.
Really?
Now let me tell you a crazy story about that. I learned the power of radio that night.
Yeah, share that with us.
So there wasn't a stage. We're at a high school. There's not a stage. It's outside at the tennis courts. So they put these lunch tables together. Straight up. They put these lunch tables together to make it a stage, right?
Right.
Behind the fence. And Bobby Brown's like, I'm not getting up there and singing. And so Roxanne Shante was cool though. She was like, my record's getting played in LA.
Yeah.
They were just happy to be in LA, all those rappers.
Right.
Straight up. Let's just be clear about that. They were just happy to be in LA. Like, we're in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Roxanne Shante, Big Daddy Kane, Biz Markie, whoever it was, all them East Coast rappers that came to LA for 1580 KDAY dances or concerts or whatever, they were happy to be here, bro. You know what I mean? So Greg Mack, we're in that room again. I'm back in the room. I'm over here and I see Greg Mack's talking to the label guy. And he goes, check this out. Either that guy gets on stage right now, either that guy gets on them tables right now and sings, or that record's getting pulled off on Monday morning. And guess where Bobby Brown was at? He was out there dancing on that stage, on them lunch tables, you know, because he had no choice. And that's when I learned the real power of radio. That moment, I'm like, oh damn, I didn't know like it's like that. Like, oh yeah. And then, you know, later on when 92.3 The Beat came, I understood a lot more, and I always referred back to that because it's really weird working with labels too sometimes when you're on the radio. It's very, you know.
I remember a phone call. I called you and I said, what are you doing tonight? You go, oh, I'm going to be at Casa Camino. And I said, who's performing? And I'm trying to remember that guy's name from New York. He had one song and he took a picture in the subway. He had like one of those biker short suits, those breaker suits. Mm-hmm. And I believe his name was Flash, and he had a song called Fire.
Kid Flash.
Kid Flash.
Kid Flash, yeah.
And you go, Kid Flash is performing. And I'm thinking, because I have his damn record.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so the next day I called you. Hey, how was it? You go, hey, it was cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wanted to fucking be there, dude.
Yeah. Kid Flash. Yeah, I remember
but
Kid
having
Flash.
a strict mother, I couldn't. Couldn't do that. But
yeah, those are great. Those are great times, of course.
Yeah, but fuck. Okay, now let's just talk a little bit about the whole Eazy-E thing, because I know recently there was a documentary out. I believe his daughter put together. Mm-hmm. Were you a part of that?
I wasn't.
Okay.
No. I was gonna be, but we couldn't get it together. Like,
okay.
I was trying to add towards the end, but we couldn't really get it together.
Okay.
It was a little difficult for me because I'm in the middle of writing a book, and I just, you know, I wanted to know what are we talking about and what it was really about, because I want to be careful what am I gonna say.
Right.
Like I said, once again, what gets used, what doesn't get used, and you know, that type of situation. But you know, eventually, we were trying to figure it out, but it didn't work out. I ended up watching it though.
Okay.
Because I was curious to know what the
outcome was, I guess.
Right. Well, what was the outcome, Tony? What did you get out of it?
You know what? I watched like two of them, honestly. And to me, no disrespect to anyone, and I got love for Eric, rest in peace. It just got a little repetitive for me. Mm-hmm. And I just stopped, you know. Now, I think one of the last times that I saw you, we were at, I think it was called the Palms in Pasadena with Jerry Heller. It was a Christmas dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we were there, and Jerry was telling me, you know, oh, Eazy-E didn't die of AIDS. And I said, okay. I didn't even ask him. He goes, yeah. And he even went as far as saying, you know, I'm thinking about having them dug up and running another type of
autopsy on
him. Yes, autopsy on him. So that's just what he told me.
Yeah.
You know, from what you know, Julio, you care to share of how he passed?
Well, I've always believed that something was foul play.
Okay.
That's just, you know, but, you know, you also have to be careful because you start saying things like that, you know what I mean? People want to know a lot of. I just believe that there was something behind Eric. I just believe that there was something behind it. I just don't believe that, like in this doc that his daughter did. One of the doctors is saying that he was carrying that around for many years and he didn't know it, and I'm just hard for me to believe that because he would have infected a lot of people.
Yes.
And it's just, to me, it's just impossible that this guy was carrying that around for all them years and didn't infect anybody, and then one day to another he just dies, and it happened in a couple of months. Yeah. So I'm gonna take it back for people. I'm gonna keep it real with you today.
Yeah.
Eric was coughing already for some months.
Okay.
He was taking some medicine, and it was some strong medicine. Because Tony's mom, rest in peace, she was a nurse. She worked in the medical field.
Right.
She seen one of the things in a trash can one day, and she looked at it. She knew. She's like, "Hey, who's taking this?" And they're like, "Oh, it wasn't us." You know what I mean? But it was like, "Oh no, I think that's Eric's."
Right.
And she was like, "Hey, this is very strong, like what he's taking. So you better tell him to be careful, like
Yeah.
This is." And so we didn't make a thing of it, but he would come from time to time, and he was sipping on this thing. And so, but like I said, I didn't make nothing of it. You know what I mean? Right. So fast forward, we were doing the Ruthless radio show on Saturday nights. He was in New York. If anybody watched the NWA movie, there's this part of the movie where Eazy-E runs into Ice Cube at a club.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
Okay.
The next day, when he comes to the Ruthless radio show, he tells me, we go outside after the show. The reason I'm pulling my phone is I want to show you a picture real quick. So, this is the last picture that I believe Eazy-E took alive. We took this Saturday night at the Ruthless radio show. Okay. So he looks a little thin right there in the face, right?
Yeah.
He was a little he was a little heavier set before when he had the 187 album.
You're right.
Right.
Yeah.
Then he looked more stockier.
Yeah.
Right there, I didn't really notice that though, but he looked thinner, right? So that night, before we took this picture, we went outside right after this picture, and he tells me, he says, okay, so we had Nino Brown, Slow Pain, ALT, we had projects on all of them.
Yeah.
And Eric was with it because we already had done Brown Side with him. We had Frost. Because Frost for Smile Now Die Later, that was actually on Ruthless.
Yes.
Right? I'll tell you a story about how that even came about too. But so he's telling me, yeah, man, shit, you ain't gonna believe this, man. I went to a party with Biggie and Puffy. And it's so funny because the other day I seen a video of Biggie that I had never seen, and he's talking about, yeah, we hung out with Eazy-E that night at that club, and he talks about that.
Wow.
So it was because I remember him telling me that, but it's been so long ago. I was just like, did he say Biggie and Puffy? So he was Biggie and Puffy. He said they invited him to a club, but I guess they left him. Or they took off, and then it was snowing outside, so he didn't want to wait for a car, so he started walking with the security to his hotel, and it was cold. So he's telling me that Saturday, yeah, man, I seen Ice Cube, man, we're gonna get NWA back together, and now before this, he had already talked to Dr. Dre, about getting the group back together, but they didn't want Jerry involved.
Okay.
So when he tells me this night, he goes, I talked to Ice Cube. He's in as long as Jerry's not in. At this time, Eazy was already starting to not talk to Jerry. Okay? So he had kind of started to separate from Jerry, even though Jerry was still in the office. Now, rest in peace to Jerry Heller, because I've known him for a long time and we're friends, But I'm going to just tell you the story how it went. So he was already not talking to Jerry, and Jerry was trying to find him, But Eazy was trying to, separate.
Right.
And so if you ever listen to Eazy-E's last album, there's a song called The Motherfucking Real with MC Ren.
Yeah.
That song we recorded at Eazy-E's house because Tony and myself built him a studio at his house because he used to come to our house, and he loved how we recorded our songs out of our house. Because he used to go to Donovan's and spend money. He's like, man, I've spent millions of dollars over there. But like, dog, we'll build you a studio for 30 racks.
Yeah.
Right? So, because he was tripping, because he used to come record with us. He'd be like, man, why you guys just be at home, man? Like,
I know.
He loved it. You know what I mean? So, we built that studio, and MC Ren was there, Yella, myself, Eazy. He did The Motherfucking Real. That song was actually to get Dre and Cube amped up. That was what that song was for.
Yeah.
That song was like, I'm gonna start showing them that we're working. Me and Ren are getting going in Yellow.
Right.
We're getting going, and just that was what Eric was trying to do.
Okay.
That song ended up on his album as the last song. I mean, as a song on his album. But for me personally, I believe those are his last lyrics. That was right before he passed and got into the hospital.
Wow.
So if you ever listen to those lyrics on the song called "The Motherfucking Real" with MC Ren, if you want to look it up online right now, check out those lyrics. Because when I was recording the lyrics, I was so, because Eazy used to have to punch him a lot.
Yes.
But he knew what he was doing towards the end though. He was not that bad, but I was more focused on the punches than I was focused on what he was saying. And like I said, we recorded it really quick. We didn't mix it and finish it until it came out, and I heard it one day. I'm like, oh, damn, that's what he said in that song. Damn, I wasn't even paying attention in the room that day when we did that.
Right.
Because he said some stuff about, if I die, niggas bury me, make sure my grave reads Eazy-E. And something I put Compton on the map. And I'm like, damn, he talked about like if he dies, and it was crazy, man. That always blew my mind the first time I heard that record done and released.
When you first heard about him having full-blown AIDS, do you remember how you heard it?
Well, what happened was that people were saying it, and I was getting into arguments with people. Because Eric, okay, so now back to that conversation that night. I seen Ice Cube. We're gonna do NWA back together. And yo, talk to Tommy Mottola, Sony straight. All your stuff we're good. So I'm excited because I'm like, oh, we just got a deal for all our groups.
Right.
And now Eazy was a lovely person. Eazy had a house in Topanga Canyon that nobody knew about, where I put that studio, me and Tony put the studio at. Now, Jerry didn't know about the house. Bone Thugs didn't know. Nobody. He had told us specifically, only you, Tony, the two securities, Tamika, his wife, MC Ren, and Yella know this house. Do not tell nobody where I live. This is a secret house.
Yeah.
He tells me that. So when he tells me that night, he tells me, yeah, man. So I was all excited. He goes, yeah, man, I'm going to meet you at the studio on Monday. I just got to go see the doctor because my bronchitis is acting up. I got sick now. He's coughing again. This is Monday. He goes to the doctor that Monday. And usually I would hear from Eric every day. He would call us every day or come to the studio and hang with us. So I was with him a lot. He didn't hear from him on Monday. I didn't hear from him on Tuesday. I didn't hear from him on Wednesday. On Thursday, he finally calls me. Hey, he's like, come over to the house, man. I'm bored, man. I'm stuck over here, man. He's like, man, I went to this doctor, man, and he says, just come over. I got to lay up, man. I can't go nowhere. I got to stay here, man. But come over, watch he had Laserdisc. Come watch Laserdisc at the house. I'm bored. All right, cool. I'll come over there. So I drove to Woodland, Topanga Canyon. I get there. Nothing. I can't get in. No call from him. Nothing. I'm like, damn, Eric. Like paging him.
Yeah.
No answer back. I went down to Ruthless. I called her from Ruthless's phone. No answer. Drive all the way back to Linwood, dog. I was so mad. I'm like, man, it's 5 in the afternoon, Eric. You're killing me, bro. So the next day he calls me. He's like, oh, man, I'm sorry about yesterday, man. Man, you ain't gonna believe this, man. I couldn't breathe. Man, Tamika had to take me to her doctor. Man, you know what he told me about the doctor before? Man, he told me that doctor's gonna kill me, man. And I'm like thinking, kill you? Come on, man. What you talking,
Yeah.
Now I want you to understand, as this is going on, I'm not thinking he has anything wrong with him.
Yeah.
I think it's just my boy's in the hospital real quick. He may be sick. Cool. I'm thinking we're gonna continue. I'm not in my head thinking this is it for him. I'm not at all. So I'm like, Eric, what you mean he gonna kill you? Come on, man. You tripping, bro. Yeah, man, I'm serious, man. Whoa. Okay, cool. So Tony went to see him. And Tony called me and told me that himself. He goes, hey, Julio, I don't know, bro. He doesn't look good. I'm like, what you mean? I don't know, bro. He looks like he has AIDS. Tony told me that first. Right. And I thought Tony was crazy. I was like, what? What are you talking about, Tony?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just telling you, man, I've seen this through my family before. I know somebody, I've seen this, so I'm just telling you. And he called it, dog. He did call it. Because nobody knew at that point. But Tony called it by seeing him because he went to pick up a check. Eazy owed him some money. But he wanted, Tony, come pick up your money, man. I got your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what that happened. And then I talked to him in the hospital about 3 or 4 times while he was still there. And then the last conversation I remember I had is when he already found out he had AIDS, because I could tell by the tone of his voice, he was like more sad.
Yeah.
And I was having a situation with the radio station at the time because I was holding the show down while he was gone.
Yeah.
And so he just told me, like, man, just do your thing, man. Just do you, bro. Like, and I was like, what do you mean do me? What do you mean do my thing? You know, I didn't understand what he was trying to tell me. But now after that happened, I realized what he was trying to tell me. There's really nothing I could do, bro. Like, just, it's your time for you to do you. And go do you. You know, that's what he was trying to tell me on the phone. That was my last conversation with him. But I'm like, well, when you get out, man, like, you know, let's get back to what we was doing. You know what I mean? I was still on. I never asked him, hey, Eazy, people on the street saying, I just was his friend.
Right.
Hey, Eric, what's up? You need anything, bro? You want me to go to the label? Or what do you need, bro? I was just there as his friend.
Right.
You know, because I loved him, man. Me and Tony loved him. It wasn't about the money with him. It was It was like, we just loved that dude, man. He was just so good to us, and he treated us like, he spoiled us. Like, he treated us like just family, bro. Like, he bought us the first MPC 3000. There was only 5 made at the time. Wow. Yeah, we had one of the first 5. He had one, we had one, Dre had one, and Sir Mix-a-Lot, and I forgot who the 5th one was. And we were the early ones to have the MPC 3000. He bought that for us as a gift, and bought us a brand new Mackie board. When we bought him his studio, it was about $35,000. And when I look over the receipt, there was these things on there, like this Mackie board and this drum machine, and it came out to $40-some thousand. And I'm like, hey, bro, wait a minute, what is this? They're like, nah, that's what Eric said. I'm like, nah, we didn't buy this, bro. I thought he was trying to slide on us, right? And then Eric comes over, he's like, nah, man, I bought that for y'all. I'm like, what? Oh, man, you didn't have to do that, dude. Nah, man, I want you to have the best stuff too, bro. Wow. That's why I loved Eric, man. When I went to that house in Topanga Canyon that I was telling you about, there was an empty lot next to it.
Right.
And one day I was helping him move something, and he was up the stairs, and he looks back at me. He was on top of his stairs, and he says back to me, he goes, hey, Julio, you're going to have your house like this too one day, man. Don't even trip, just roll with me. And I'm like, man, I'm with you, dog. He goes, man, I want to this lot next door, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to build a house for you and Tony, and I'm going to have an underground tunnel so I can just come work with y'all. Yeah, so I
believe that.
Yeah, no, he was serious, bro. He was dead serious about that. I want to buy a house where you bring you and your kids and Tony's kids, because Eric knew Tony G's kids, bro.
Right.
He knew, like, he would come to our house. He knew my godsons. He knew our family, bro.
Yes.
His mom, everybody. He was family with us.
That's awesome.
So he literally became family. Like, he was part of, like, when we ate, we all ate. Hey, Eric, come on, man.
Right.
It was part of, you know how we get down Hispanics. You know what I mean? So Eric was like, yeah, I want y'all to live next door to me, man. I want you to I'm like, man, thank you, bro, man. We love that. We're with you, dog. Because, see, at the time, not everybody wasn't with Eric because Death Row was popping.
Yes.
He was happy that we were just that loyal to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he helped us out with Kid Frost. You know, he helped us out with get us out that situation and put that record out. You know?
I'm going to ask you to share a little story about something that I heard you say it somewhere. And then I just want to do something extra special. I want to take a 5-minute break, and then I want to come back and continue. We never do this.
Okay.
But there's just so much more that I hope you can stay another 30 minutes.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Okay. You shared one time, and I don't remember where I heard it, and I want you to share it with the public, that you were with Eazy in the car. Mm-hmm. Somebody drives up bumping Dre Day.
No. We were in the car, and we heard Dre Day.
Yes, okay.
It comes on the radio.
Okay, there you go. Can you share that, please?
So one day we're rolling. So Eazy used to, so Eazy worked with Tony a lot, okay? Right. But for some reason he was like more like he would fuck with me.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but he just liked to fuck with me. Like, he would call me early. What you doing, man? Shit, I'm gonna come pick you up, man. And so this one day he calls me early. He's like, what you doing, man? I said, man, I'm at the house, man. What's going on? He's like, man, I want to buy a keyboard today, man. Come with me. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, she goes, I'm gonna come pick you up. All right, cool. So my neighbors used to trip because they, Eazy-E would roll up in a big ass Mercedes Benz. They ain't never seen that in Linwood, dog.
Right.
He'd roll up in that big gray Benz, and he'd be like, damn, everybody, my neighbors would be like, that's Eazy-E.
Yeah.
So I was rolling with Eric, and we were in North Hollywood, and we were looking for this place to buy this keyboard, and so we're kind of lost, right? So there's 2 things that happen in this conversation. We're lost, and he goes, oh, no, I know where I'm at now. Oh, I had to take a blood test right here for his kid that I thought was mine. That's what he tells me. And I'm like, oh, okay, so we do a U-turn. I know exactly where I'm at now. And that was the time when I said to him, hey, Eric, man, just out of curiosity, man, like, how many kids do you have, bro? Because, you know, I had heard all these different rumors, you know? And he said, I think at the time he had 8.
Okay.
And then I'm like, damn, bro. And then he said, at the time, they had offered him to buy Ruthless Records for like $75 million.
Fuck.
And I remember I was, now mind you, I'm rolling with Eazy-E. This is 94. I'm probably about 24, 25 years old. I did the same thing you said. I'm like, wow, Eric, you didn't sell it? And I'm like, he's like, nah. He's like, nah, man, I'm not selling my label, man. I want to leave that to my kids. Which I thought was weird, because I was like, your kids, like, what are they gonna do? I mean, are they CEOs or? But in his head, that's really what he was about. I mean, you know, Eric was ahead of his time.
Yes.
But I understand now what he meant by that. Yeah, he wanted to leave his label to his kids.
Yes.
That's what he was saying. So he didn't want to sell anything.
Right.
$75 million was nothing to him. He was, I don't care about that, man. You know, he don't do this. He's telling me, I don't do this for me like that, man. I do this for my kids, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what he was about. And he really, really, really loved kids. So as we're driving, we're at the red light, and we're listening to Power 106. And Dre Day comes on, bro. So now I'm looking out the window this way because now it's uncomfortable because this is the first time I've been around him when this happens. Right? I didn't ever thought this was happening. And it's up loud, bro. It's like, Mr. Buster, where the fuck you at? They ain't scrap a lick. So now, mind you, as this is going on, I'm turning my head like this, like now I get over here, and he's looking at me like this too, and we both just start laughing, man. We just start laughing. I'm like, damn. I'm like, damn, man, Dre went in on you, man. And he laughed about it. And then he got real serious. And he goes, you know what's fucked up about that, man? Man, he left me for some dude he had just met a couple years ago, man. I remember when I used to let Dre sleep on my couch, man. Helped him out when he needed shit with his kids.
Yeah.
And he left me for some dude he just met last year.
Yeah.
And so that's why I knew that it wasn't really about the money with Eazy-E, with the Dr. Dre situation. I think it hurt him the way Dre went about gangstering on him like that.
Right.
Because Dre was not a gangster.
Right.
It was kind of out of his thing. That's not a Dre move, I don't think. He's world-class wrecking crew.
Yeah, world-class wrecking crew.
Not, you know, so he's not, he wasn't that dude. And so it's like somebody, it's like me and you were friends, Tony, and then you go get some other homies to get at me. That's what it felt like. It felt to him, it felt like, damn, homie, like I know you, bro. Why would you even, you know? So I think it was more to it than just those songs. Drake, I mean, Eazy got paid off those songs anyway, so he really didn't care.
Right.
And
it was, I guess it was more of a personal thing, but kind of like what you just said. Instead of me just talking to you, I go get somebody to go deal with you. With it. Yeah.
It's not cool. And me and you been homies. Like, you're my homeboy. Like, and then when I come meet you, you're the one to call me to, hey, come meet me over here so we could talk.
Yeah.
Like, you set me up, dude. Like, that's why I think Eric had a trip about that. Like, it wasn't necessarily about no money or did he want to leave. It was like, it hurt him as his friend. Because that's the way it sounded like to me when he told me in his tone of his voice. Like, man, damn, man, like, I looked out for that dude, man. Like, he was disappointed with that part of it, you know what I mean? Okay. And I'm sure Dre, too, later on, he regrets that, too, you know what I mean? Because everybody was going through their time. I don't blame Dr. Dre for that either, you know what I mean? He was in the middle of his situation. He didn't know what way it was going to go either.
Right.
You know, so, but like I said, at the end, they were going to do NWA. That was, he had told me that a few times, you know, out of his mouth, you know what I mean?
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We never really do this, but since this is the 200th episode, we got to do something special. Julio G's in the motherfucking place, so we're going to come back. Then we're going to talk about Ruthless, Frost, and then Toker.
Everybody wants to know about Toker.
Everybody wants to know about Toker, so we got to save that for the end. So make sure you call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Julio G's in the motherfucking place.
Hip-hop history, West Coast style,
history.
yes.
We're here. 5 minutes.
Hey, how you doing? It's me, Little Eazy-E, Eric, right? And a lot of you know me, know I like to smile. And to thank for my beautiful smile, I want to thank Occidental. That's Occidental Hollywood. So check this out. For all your dental needs, be sure to come to them because they'll be there to take care of you. That's Occidental in Hollywood. Check them out.
Hey, what up? It's your boy Mr. Shadow. You're watching Roadium Radio with my homeboy Tony A. the Wizard. You know what time it is.
Yo, what's cracking? Nosotros somos Aqua y estamos aquí con Tony A. the Wizard. You know Roadium Radio, damn it. You know what it is.
Yo, what's cracking? It's your boy OG Arabian Prince from the world's most dangerous group, NWA. Sitting here with my boy Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
What's up, everybody? It's your homegirl Magic Girl, and you are now listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
Yo, what's up? This is Bozo, aka Emiliano. You tune into Roadium Radio on Tony Vision's YouTube channel. Let's get it.
What up, It's Mr. Soto. You guys are now in tune to Roadium Radio right here on Tony Vision on YouTube. Yep.
Check it out. This is MC Poncho on the MIC. Shout out to Tony A. the Wizard, Roadium Radio. You already know.
What up? This is DJ Trick, Spanish Fly, and you're watching Tony A. on the Roadium Radio Show.
Big G, Roadium Radio, Tony A. in full effect. Stay tuned, watch, listen. That's how we doing it over here.
This is DJ Clientele, and you are listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard.
Yeah, this baby Bounce here with Tony A. the Wizard. You are now tuned in to the Roadium Radio. We do it for the people. You hear me?
Mic check. Ernie G from Proper Dos, and I'm listening to Tony A. the motherfucking Wizard on Roadium Radio. And if you don't know, you should know.
What's up, everybody? This is Soren Baker. I'm the author of the book, The History of Gangster Rap, in stores now worldwide. And you're listening to Roadium Radio, hosted by Tony A. Make sure to check it out. We talk about the Roadium mixtapes. We're here. Soren Baker, Roadium Radio.
Y'all, this is Rudy Gregg, and I'm chilling with Tony the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
Hey, this is Swifty Blue. I'm right here at Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Wizard. Stay tuned.
It's the KAS here live on Roadium Radio with the one and only Tony A. the Wizard.
What up, y'all? This is Kiki Smooth, the first Mexican rapper out of Compton, rich and ruthless, and you're listening to the Roadium Radio with Tony A. the Grand Wizard, El Mago himself. Hey, Compton's in the house.
What's up? It's Quete Yes God with my Harbor Ottawa homeboy Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio. Yes God.
Hey, what's up, gente? It's your homeboy Duende. You're tuned into Roadium Radio with my homeboy Tony A. the Wizard. Ya te la sabes, wey.
What up? It's your boy Baldacci the Beast, Afro Music, face of LA, right here at Roadium Radio. Make sure y'all tune in. Your boy Tony A. the Wizard.
This is Kelvin Anderson, owner of the world famous VIP Records, and you listen to my man Tony A. the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
Yeah, what up? It's Lil Black, you the brown super baller, and you checking out Roadium Radio with the homeboy Tony A. the Wizard.
What's cracking? It's your boy OG Big Wicked, Real Ones Apparel, Orange County. I hear my boy Tony A. the Wizard, Roadium Radio. Y'all make sure to peep it. Peace.
Que tranza raza, aquí su servidor, Sinful El Pecador, and you listening to Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A. the Wizard.
Check. What's up? It's your boy Capital I Man from the Mexican Crew, and you're tuning into Roadium Radio with my boy Tony A. the Wizard. Motherfucker's a legend.
What's up, y'all? This is Chris the Glove, and you're watching the Roadium Radio Show on Tony Vision on YouTube.
What's up? This is Leah Farsayer, aka the Dragon, the Serpent, the Spear. I'm on Roadium Radio with my boy Tony the Wizard.
Hey man, Nick V and Eric V, the Baker Boys in the house, hanging out with Roadium Radio and the one and only Tony the Wizard.
Tony the Wizard, aka Kylo Ren, right here on YouTube, Sundays and Wednesdays.
Tony Vision, subscribe now.
Tony Vision, yeah.
Boys, big baby.
What's good with it? This is Old Creep, aka Jay Stompanato. I'm putting it down for Orange County on the Roadium Radio Show by West Coast legend DJ Tony A. We up and out this bitch.
Yo, this is how I see it, Tony A. Chilling at the Roadium with my homeboy Steve. Be on the lookout for our new 12-inch, the shit is dope. Yo, I like to say what's up to my homeboy Dre, my homeboy Prince of Jazz, and the girls with the big ol' ass. So Trip, I'm about to bust one more time to let y'all niggas know just what's on my mind.
6 in the morning, police at my door. Fresh to be this week across my bathroom floor. Out my back window, I make my escape. Didn't even get a chance to grab my old school tape. Mad with no music, but happy cause free. And the street to a player is the place to be. Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least a grand.
Hey Tony, drop that.
What bass?
I bet. My name is the Croft, the C-R-A-W-F-O-R-D, the poet high C. Tony A. the Wizard, just as cool as a visit. Thinking out of tongue, stabbing pussy like a lizard. Oops, I'm sorry, homie, I didn't mean to say that. Steve is in the house, come on, won't you play that funky dope beat? You know you gotta throw me some Stanley ass crop coming straight from the Roadium.
You are now about to witness
Tony A.
Get funky. Tell them where you're from.
You don't think I'm living, well, fuck you.
Cool on Saturday night in LA. Yo, feeling kinda funky.
Stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you used to.
What the hell are you looking for? Can a young man make money anymore? Wear my jeans and like freaking on the floor? Or is it my job to make sure I'm poor?
Disruption, disorderable, nourish, not justify. Those that live at the FBI, look at mama's baby.
Get you, Dre.
Just did 1 2 1 2. Right about now, Eazy-E and Dr. Dre's in the motherfucking house.
Times are getting crazy, it's really hard to choose it. The Roadium's a spot to get funky, fresh music. Easy motherfucking E and my homeboy Dr. Dre. MC Ren is in effect, and you know we don't play. The Roadium is hitting, but you know you can't leave until you get a deaf ass tape from Steve. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape.
Yeah, man, I came all the way down to the Roadium spot meet, man, to pick up one of them NWA tapes, man. And I talked to homeboy Steve down there, man, and he said I'm fresh out of tapes, man. How the fuck you fresh out of tapes, man? He said cause they selling like hotcakes and shit, man.
That's my man throwing down. Hey, what's for dinner?
Welcome back, everyone, to Roadium Radio episode 200. And we never really do this, but we take a 5-minute break and to regroup, to pull out the tequila, fill up my michelada, and amongst other things. I actually brought out the trophy that you guys always kept calling me out on. Show me the trophy. Show me the trophy. We think you're bullshitting. Well, here we are.
There it is. Boom.
Julio
G. I was
G.
there that night, bro.
Yes.
I was there that night. I'll never forget that night. And you got busy, Tony.
Thank you.
I remember that. I remember back in them days because it was like no Hispanics. So
I know.
It was only a handful of us that were really doing that. And we were doing it like to the maximum level. You know what I mean?
You know, let me say something. In the beginning, you guys, when you guys hear that guy say, Tony A, when you're ready, go. That clip is from the videotape of that night. I actually have the videotape.
Really? Wow.
Yes. And I hear you in the back going, fuck it up, Tony.
Yeah, man.
So when I won that night, motherfuckers were saying, it was an inside job. He knew Julio.
I know. But I knew you, but I wasn't doing that.
Right.
I mean, you just got busy. It was, and I was happy for you. You know what I mean? It was like I said, it's for me. It's always been a thing about like helping Hispanics.
Yes.
We got to help each other.
Absolutely.
You know. Now it doesn't happen every time. I can't do it for every single individual.
Yes.
But there's certain moments that you feel like, damn, I want to help this dude. He's dope. Like he needs to be seen. I've always been that kind of person. If you need to be seen. DJ Melody from the Beat Junkies, I seen him. He needed to be seen. I put him on the radio so you could see him.
Yes.
I could have DJed my own radio show. I DJ.
Yes.
But I did that for the Beat Junkies because
I saw that. Yeah.
I wanted to put him on. People needed to see how dope he was.
Yes.
You know, so I that's why I say I always, you know, I seen you had Daza on here one day, right?
Yes.
I remember when she had her first calendar out. I just got on the radio. I let her come promote because she's Hispanic and I wanted to help her out. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I mean by like, if it's certain people, I'll always like, I want to help this person out. I don't want nothing in return. I just want to help you do your thing. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. That's
that's how I've been blessed like that too. It comes back full circle. You know.
That night when I went, it was 1988, and Julio handed me this trophy. So I can't wait.
The thing is, I remember this night, Tony. I sure do, bro.
Man. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. for so many years I've held on to it, and I guess I remember years later because I had to sneak out of the house to go into this because coming from a very like strict Mexican mom, she wouldn't let me go out anywhere. So I pretended to go to sleep, and I remember we were so damn broke that my window didn't have a window, just had a screen. So I took off. I was wearing just some jeans. I put on anything that I could put on. I had my little brother's pants. I put the motherfuckers on. They looked like I was wearing skinny jeans that was so damn tight. And I wore a white T-shirt, and I just took off to San Marico Hall, and I won. And I won $50, a car detailing thing, and this trophy. When I came home, I'm thinking to myself, fuck, I fucking won. How am I going to hide this?
Yeah, you're going to hide this big thing, yeah.
Yes. So I put it where my mom would see it along with the check so she can keep it, and I just went to bed.
Wow.
So that was hers.
That's crazy, man.
So every time, believe it or not, I don't know why, I wanted to throw this away and say, you know what, it's over with. I know I won. I have the videotape. Yeah. She was like, don't. No, you accomplished that. And I was like, okay, cool.
No, that's beautiful. You kept it, man. Damn,
Thank
I
you,
remember that, man. That takes me so back, man.
Yeah, we gotta take a picture.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
So let's get into Frost and Ruthless. How did that happen?
So, Kid Frost, we had been working on the Smile Now Die Later album. Okay. So, at this point, for myself in production, producing records, this is more in the beginning. Like I would help Tony. He didn't need help, but I mean in the sense of like, I would always have some ideas ready.
Yes.
Like we use them, we don't. It didn't matter. But I was always like, he's working on a beat. I'm trying to find a cut for it. If he's working on something, I'm trying to. Oh, there's a horn that you should use, and that was kind of my thing. Whatever I could come up with. But he always knew what he was doing. But little by little, I started to do like stuff on my own, and then like during that time is when he kind of like, all right, Julio, man, like do your thing, bro. Like I'll just kind of tweak your stuff and help you with certain things. And so that's where I did La Familia, I did La Raza Part 2, I did those two were pretty more me. The Mary Jane was more Tony. There was a couple of other ones that were a little more Tony. Those two specific ones were more like me and Tony on the back. He helped me like in La Familia, he helped me with the part with Rich in the hook.
Yes.
And then on La Raza Part 2, he helped me with the flute in the hook.
Okay.
And so I had a different idea, and he's like, "Oh, that's cool, bro. I think we should do this," you know. And it worked out perfectly.
That Familia song's a fucking cut, bro.
I love that record. Now, and I was so proud of that record because when I listen back to those records and today, at my age today, I just think of that kid and that age I was and what I was trying to make with my music. I wanted our people to feel. I wanted them to feel like they have their own music.
Yes.
I wanted us to feel like this is us. This is for us. You know what I mean? Not saying that anybody else can't listen to it, but I made it specific. When I made La Familia, that's what I had and I only had the loop. It was Frost that came with the idea, ALT, and then Rich came and did the hook. But it was, the idea and concept was, I wanted to do something that's about our people because of dun 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 dun. It just felt like backyard, like a cool Mexican party, right?
Yes.
That's what it felt like. And that samples by El Chicano.
Still bangs.
Oh yeah. So and then La Raza Part 2, that was like me. Tony had called me one day and said, "We need a song. We need another song. We bring something. Come up with something." And I did that record like honestly in about 15, 20 minutes. And then I took it to the studio in Almani, and then we finished it. And then Frost came in and he got just busy on that. But in the beginning, I used this part from Blood In, Blood Out, where it's like, you don't know what raza means. It means dignity or people surviving. That is raza. Something that he said to the film, but it was to uplift.
Yes.
But that was a message like for me, like to my people.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to get across. And I just love those records when I listen. I'm very proud of those records because of what Frost said on them and just being my name being a part of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've done something so for my people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I'm glad those records still bang today and people love those records. And a lot of people don't know that I produced those records, but or Tony and myself, because it wasn't just me. But like I said, for La Familia and La Raza Part 2, those are kind of mine on that record that he tweaked and helped me out with. But anyway, I've done other songs with Frost, but I love working with Frost because honestly, I really believe that people need to give Frost his flowers, his proper respect, because he's amazing, that guy. You know what I mean? He approached music from a perspective that he just represented a Chicano, a straight, like he's like the voice of that Chicano dude that you just feel it, like what he's talking about.
Yes.
And he raps so good to me. Like Frost always had his own pocket. That's what I liked about him so much.
Right.
He has his own pocket. He doesn't rap like he's black.
Right.
Right?
Right, of course.
But there's nothing to say. It's not to say nothing about people that rap that way. It's just that what I like about him is that when he has just a certain I never had to tell him about the pocket. He always had that naturally. Sometimes he would switch his voice up and like, oh, let me do a little more sinister. Take it back. Let me do a little more sinister. He would know how to range his voice out for the song. That's why he was really good to work with. I always had a good time working with him. And ALT also an incredible writer. Also Nino Brown too. Slow Pain, rest in peace.
Slow Pain, rest in peace. Yeah.
He just had that voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those guys were all really, when I listen back on those records, man, I'm really proud of that work. You know what I mean? The first time I played this, what happened is that we had that record and it was stuck at Virgin Records.
Okay.
We were getting shelved on that Smile Now Die Later record. So Greg Mack, he brings Eazy-E over to our studio because Greg Mack was starting to work with Eazy at his label.
Okay.
And so when he comes over, I tell Tony, man, I'm going to play it for him, man. And Tony was like, I don't know, bro. I don't think that's really up Eazy-E's alley. And so I said, I'm going to do it. And before Eric leaves, hey, Eric, can I play you something? Yeah, all right. So I played him like 5 songs off that. This is his Frost album, man. We kind of stuck, we whatever. And man, I remember playing it for him, and he stood there and he was listening. He was sitting down and he was listening, and he didn't make no expression, Tony. Like he was just like, he wasn't bobbing. He wasn't like. And after like the 3rd song, I'm kind of looking over. I'm thinking, damn, I'm feeling stupid.
I bored his ass.
Oh, he ain't feeling this at all, man. I'm wasting this dude's time. By the time he's like, yeah, it's cool. And that was it. So he leaves. A couple days later, Eazy calls us at the house. Tony's mom gave me the phone. This is this guy Eric on the phone. Hey, what's up, man? He goes, meet me at my office on Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, way in Woodland Hills. Wow. And I'm like, okay, damn, that's far, bro. And he goes, and by the way, how much you owe Virgin for that record? I'm like, we owe him like $100,000. He goes, okay, cool. I'm gonna have Jerry get you out that deal. I'm gonna get y'all $150,000, put some money in Frost's pocket, record a couple new songs, and let's get this record out. I'm like, what? Because we had been sitting on that record for about a year.
Yeah.
If you listen to La Familia, he says something. I told you I'd come back in a 6 Trade cruising in the calle, because that song was recorded in '93, but it didn't come out until '95. Wow. That's how long we had been sitting on that. La Familia had been recorded in '93. So that's why,
a fucking dope ass song.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, imagine if I'd have dropped it in '93, I would have caught him even harder. That's what that held us up. But Eric still came, Eazy still came and saved us. You know what I mean? And that's how he ended up on Ruthless Records.
Those songs, let's just take La Raza, let's just take La Familia. The delivery that he had on those songs, I find, and this is not to pick on anybody or to put anybody down, this is just my opinion. I find it hard to find in these days, Chicano rappers matching that delivery.
Right. That's why I say you have to give this guy his flowers. Now, I want you to understand, I was growing up breakdancing.
Yeah.
When I was a young kid, my friend Ray, another friend of mine, Ray, that lived on my block, he had a little red Camaro, and he was older than us, and he would take us out to Whittier Boulevard from time to time to go cruising. So one day we were parked somewhere, and I see this circle of people, and it was Frost. It was Kid Frost and the TMS jamming crew. That's what they were called. And he was busting in. Mm-hmm. And they were breakdancing. I remember, he looked like a star to me then. This is 84.
Yeah.
So like Kid Frost is just, to me, like I said, he needs to be given his proper respect on what he accomplished, because like you said, he raps his own way. He doesn't he sounds original it's his sound.
Yeah.
It's his sound. Like I said, the way he raps and what he raps about.
Right.
You know what I mean? He really put it down for the Hispanics, you know what I mean? And that's what got us to work with Brownside. Okay. Eazy wanted us to work with Brownside because of Frost. Okay. Even though Brown side didn't get along with Frost.
Right.
It was very difficult for us because we had to figure out how to get them both to come to the studio and not run into each other. And it was a little difficult. It got a little difficult, but we were able to get through it. You know what I mean?
Before you start with the Brown side, I asked Tony the same question. How did you meet Toker? So I'm asking you, how did you come to meet Toker?
Well, I met Toker. I want to say I met him at the La Raza video shoot, but I'm not sure if it was that exact song. It may have been a different song. But I met Toker because he had a root beer brown convertible BMW at the time.
Damn.
Beautiful though, bro. Beautiful. Like it stuck out. Like it was like, damn, bro, I ain't seen a car like that. Like this dude's balling.
Yeah.
And he had that whole he was, but I didn't meet him as Toker. I met him as Beaver. He was known as Beaver first. And so I met Beav, and that's where I got to meet him first, but we didn't hang out yet. He knew some people I knew from South Central, do some street stuff too, sort of. Yeah. And so we didn't know each other, but he happened to know some people that, hey, you know my boy, you know, one of those things.
Right, right.
And so later on, we meet him. I don't remember exactly when I met him, when we sat down and talked, but we ended up talking again. But we went to reminisce. Hey, remember I met you at the oh, I take it back. He had a rim shop and sound shop, and I took my Jetta at that time to go to his spot to get it done up.
Okay.
With him and his homies. And he wasn't there, but his homies was there, and they took care of it for me. And so that's how I kind of got into getting down with them. So later on, it was like, hey, Tokes, what's up? Remember me? Oh, yeah, what's up, Julio G? Oh, yeah, man. So it was cool. And then Tony got to know him, too. And then you know, Eazy asked us, could we work with him? Because I think he had a lot of ideas, but he just couldn't get... First of all, Toker wasn't a rapper. He just wasn't. And that's what I respected about him. Because when I first sat down and talked to him, me and Tony, he told us straight out, hey, homie, I'm not no rapper. And I respected that. Because when I worked with him, every time he came to the studio, I always put myself in the frame of mind of like, I want to help him get his idea off. He's not a rapper though, bro. So we're not looking for skills.
Of course.
I want him to get his idea off though, because I know he had these ideas. He knew what he wanted to do. That's what. As long as you know at least where you're trying to get to, I have no problem finding the way to get you there.
Yeah.
So it was not very difficult. It was just taking our time recording him, you know, and getting his ideas off.
Yeah.
And so that's how that kind of came about. But I don't know, did Tony tell you about the first time they came and they wrote on our fence?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so that was a little weird thing that happened with us. First time he come to work, Danger, rest in peace, he writes on our fence. And, you know, he wrote like Danger, Eastside 13. And when we're walking out, leaving Tony's house, we noticed it and we're like, what?
Yeah.
Hey, man, like, why would this dude do this, dude? Like, we just got out the studio with you, bro.
Yeah.
And so Tony wasn't having it. He called Toker. Hey, check this out, homie. Like, you know, respect to you and who you are and all that, but we don't do that here, big dog. And Toker was embarrassed. You know, he's like, oh, what? He did what? Oh, man. Sorry, look, Holmes. He's just a little homie. He's just a little bit of a knucklehead.
Right.
He didn't know. I think he just got excited. And I apologize, Holmes. He'll come take that shit off, Holmes. And so we ended up patching it up with Danger because he came and apologized.
Right.
But it was we gotta kind of, it was like I said, working with them was a different experience for us because it was dangerous with them because they were gangsters, bro. They were real, straight up gangsters. Now me and you grew up in the hood.
Right.
I grew up in the hood with some gangsters too, bro.
Yes.
So I'm gonna tell you that these were, okay, you're from Wilmington. You're from, this is Wilmas, right?
Correct.
Okay. There's Wilmas gangsters, and then you know Wilmas killers. Yes. There's a big difference, bro. There's people that gangbang and they're gangsters. Yeah, gangbang. And then you got those people like, you better watch that dude. That's what his crew was.
Yes.
You better watch these dudes because they're killers, bro.
Yeah,
I hate to say it that way, but they're about the business.
Yeah.
But Toker had money. That was the difference between him.
Yeah.
He was a cholo with bread. So all his Lolos, everything he drove, everything, his whole style, everything, he was papered up. So he had the most beautiful lowriders, dog. Like, I mean, they were gangbanging in 63s and shooting out of rag tops, bro. Like on Zenith rims, bro.
Yes.
That's how gangbang they were, because he had his gang out in Riverside too, so it wasn't just South Central. He had this gang in Riverside, and it was a whole situation. Then Toker, when we were working with him, he was on bail for a murder.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he was. So it was a difficult time. Then we lost Danger in the middle. He gets killed in the middle of the recording of that record. So we had to finish that record just with Toker, and then Toker goes to jail. So when the record actually comes out, he's in jail. So we couldn't even promote the record. Wow. Yeah, that messed us up, because we had a couple other songs we were gonna do, and so like, but that, that's what happened. And then he goes and gets a public defender and somehow fights the case, and he gets the case overturned and he gets released. And then I'm like, somebody called me and said, "Hey, Tokes is out." I'm like, "Where is he?"
What, a public defender?
Yes. After he had spent bread with his big time lawyer. That's for you guys to learn something. Just because you have a big time lawyer, you giving him a bunch of money, he'll still throw you in the slammer, because he knows you're just a gangbanger and he gonna be gone for life. He gonna take your money. Yeah. And that's kind of what happened to Tokes. I think that's what happened to him. So he got a public defender because he was railroaded through. He didn't do that murder. Right. It was just that they wanted him off the street.
Yeah,
they just wanted him off the street. They had a pin it on him. They like, we got to get you out of here. So he ended up fighting that case, and he beat the case with a public defender. He gets out, and then they tell me he's in Mexico. And I'm like, Mexico? What's he doing in Mexico? They're like, oh, I didn't know that he wasn't an American citizen. I didn't know this.
Right.
I'm like, what? Oh man. So I went to go see him in Mexico, and we chopped it up, had a good time that time. Came back, we're gonna work on something, but it didn't pan out. But that was the last time I seen Toker.
Okay.
It was a while ago, but I went to see him right after he had got out. But he was he was a good dude though. I love him. Rest in peace, man. I love working with him. He was a funny dude. He was a gangster, but when he was cool, with us, he was super cool. He was like family, you know what I mean? He was a wonderful person. But,
let me just share something really quick before I forget. Mm-hmm. I had a couple of homies. They were from Long Beach. I won't mention their name. They were at a studio session. I guess they must have had somebody in there that knew Toker and them. And they had sampled like an oldie sample. Mm-hmm. And I guess that guy must have told, hey, they're using the same sample too. Mm-hmm. And he said, my boy told me, he goes, that dude, Toker, and all the Brownside or whoever they were, they rolled up to the studio and said, you're not using that sample.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the song Rest in Peace.
Probably.
Because it was for his brother.
Yeah.
So he asked me to do that song for him. And that was like the last song we recorded for that album. It was for his brother, that song Rest in Peace. And it uses the song, Love Between...
That's right.
A boy and girl, right? And he asked me, Julio, man, I need you to sample this. And I remember it was a big deal for him. That was like so big for him.
Yeah.
That song. And then when we were done with it, he was so emotional about it, dog. Like, he was so thankful to me. I think that's why me and Tony were such good graces with him.
Yeah.
Because we were able to get out the vision that he had for his little brother that got killed. And he made that song about him, that song Rest in Peace on his album. And if you ever listen to that first Brownside album, the East Side Drama, I interview him in the record.
Yeah.
That's me interviewing him in the record. And we talk about a lot of different things in there, you know what I mean? But I remember that song, he was so thankful, bro. Thank you, Julio, man. Thank you, man. You don't know what this means to me, dog. I feel like my record's done. Like, I needed to do this for my brother. It took me a long time. I didn't know what to do, when to do it, but now it just all fell into place. And that's why he was that serious, and he probably pulled up on him and said, you can't use that on. Yeah, I believe it. That's Toker, man. That's Toker. He was a gangster.
He goes, bro, I didn't know what to do. It was like, these motherfuckers
You did the right thing.
Yeah.
You would have had a problem.
Yeah.
A serious one.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He goes, I didn't know what to do. And I go, did you use it? He goes, no. I go, problem solved.
There was one night, I'm going to tell you guys a story. There was one night when they had put out the song Gang Related. And they wanted the Baker Boys to play it.
Oh,
and
shit.
The Baker Boys was like, we ain't playing that. Like, that wasn't really up their alley.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not to discredit them. It's just that wasn't really their flow. They're Friday Night Flavors. They're doing hip hop. You know what I mean? But Toker wasn't understanding that. He's not a rapper. He's from the streets, Holmes.
Of course.
So he's taking that as a disrespect. Like, oh, we got to get at that fool. We got to get at those fools.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, just to add to the story here, the Baker Boys came to L.A. through Tony G and Julio G. People don't know that.
No, I didn't.
They didn't know that. Okay, so when you go back to Kid Frost's first album, the Baker Boys produced on that record. I taught them how to use the drum machine over the phone. And so they started making beats. and they would come and they would record 1580 KDAY, and go back home when they were young kids, and their dad would take them to a certain part of Bakersfield where you can get the signal, and that's how they started recording us. Eventually, the dad brought them to LA, brought the Nick V and Eric V to LA to one of our KDAY dances, and that's how we met them. Oh. And so that's
before you continue, please, I just want to say this. When I did interview them here, they did mention Tony G, Julio G helped us. Yeah, they did say that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yes.
So they used to come and stay at my house.
Okay.
Because they didn't, I wouldn't allow them to stay at hotels with all their equipment. I'd be like, nah, dog, you got to come to my house, dog. Just stay at my house.
Yeah.
Because you guys ain't safe, dog. Y'all little kids, and you from Bakersfield. I used to look out for them because I knew they were little kids. And, you know, and not little kids, but they were like a year or two younger than me. You know what I mean? So, like I said, if you go on that first album, Baker Boys produced on that early Kid Frost album.
Yes.
But, so we knew them. So I overhear Toker saying, oh, we're going to go up to Power 106 and handle them. And I already knew what that meant.
Yes.
That meant some gangster shit. And Danger was with him. So I'm like, oh, no, bro. So I tell Tony, I go, hey, Tony, bro, I think they're going to get at the Baker Boys, man. We need to holler at this dude, man. So mind you, we had just started working with them.
Yeah.
This wasn't like I knew Toker greatly at that point. So we were at our studio in El Monte, and we walked outside, and I said, hey, Toker, can I talk to you? Or can me and Tony talk to you? And we pulled him to the side, and Tony told him, he said, hey, Toker, man, we need you to do us a favor. You can't go get at these guys because they're our family, bro. Like, we know their mom and dad. Like, you know, and I did. I knew right. Nick V and Eric V's mom and dad. I felt responsible for them, me and Tony. I mean, you can't do that, dog. Can you do us a favor and let this slide? And man, I remember Toker just like quiet, like he was like no expression. And I'm thinking, oh man, because we're dealing with a gangster, dog.
Of course.
So, and not that Tony's a punk or me is a punk, but we don't even want to get into all this.
Right.
We're getting ourselves into something that's like over some other dudes, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still got to look out for these dudes because I know what these dudes will do to them. Yes. So I can't have that happen. So Toker said to, all right, Holmes, I'm going to do this for you guys. Hey, Danger. Hey, Holmes, that shit's off, Holmes. And Danger's like, what? Oh, fuck that. He's like, hey, Holmes, I said that shit is off.
Yeah.
Man, shit. So I'm like, damn, Danger was on one. Like, he was, yeah, man. So
they were ready.
They were. So I not only saved the Baker Boys, I saved the Felly Fell one time too, but not from the Brown side. I saved them from some Nickerson Garden people.
Oh,
that one day wanted to do something. That same thing. I had to jump in. I'm like, hey, bro, I know you guys, but I know Felly Fell too. He's a friend. I can't have you do that.
Right.
Because that's not his flow, bro. You're gonna just mess up your whole music business thing. I won't say who they are because they're very big today.
Yes.
Very big. They're like the biggest. I won't tell you who they are, but they are the biggest in LA. Okay. And at that time, okay, well, you know, I just say it since we're on Tony A. Roadium Radio, want to keep it real. Okay, so I break J-Rock from TDE first. I broke TDE on the radio at 93.5 KDAY. I go ham on J-Rock and TDE. I don't even know them. I just know that they're from Nickerson Gardens, and I knew some people from Nickerson Gardens from the relationship of being in Linwood.
Yes.
And so I wanted to help out Watts at the time. So I gave him a lot of love. And then when I met J-Rock, he brought Kendrick. He was called K.DAY back then. And so one thing I'm going to say about J-Rock, he's a wonderful person for this reason. After I met J-Rock, he tells me, hey, I'm dope, but this little homie right here, he's the business, bro. Like, he's the one. And you never hear rappers do that, Tony.
No,
ever,
no, you don't.
Ever.
You don't.
That's what made me respect J-Rock for that. To this day, I respect J-Rock because he let his boy, like, you know, he even though his boy blew, he took his time, he's blown too, but he never hated on Kendrick. He from the beginning with Tone, and I remember that I was like, damn man, you a good dude for doing that, right?
And you know what? Let me say, Julio, that's a beautiful thing that somebody can say he's the business, and you know you yourself rap too, or you yourself are in the business, but to show love.
And I'm blowing you up at the time. Yes. You hot on the radio. Ain't nobody know this dude, and you telling me, I know you're doing that for me, but this is the dude, and that's why.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I salute those guys, but it was actually TDE, and I had blown them up so much that they went to Power 106. It's like, since Julio G done blown us up, it should be nothing for you guys. That's how they're thinking.
Oh.
They're thinking, look what Julio G done to care, man. Play our music. But Felly was like, And they was like, what? Oh, no, we finna snatch this motherfucker up. And that's when I talk to them and I'm like, hey, bro, you can't do that. Because if you do that, then your name's going to be destroyed across this country because DJs talk to other DJs.
Yeah.
Don't do that, please, bro. I know you hot. I know you upset. It's how the radio business works, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes they ain't going to fuck with you, dog. So you got to let it go and move on to the next thing. Don't trip. I got you guys. And because I do fuck with Felly Fel, you know what I mean? He's my guy too. So I didn't want to see something happen to him.
Yes.
And because I knew that these dudes are like street dude. That's not Felly Fel. He's not.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It's just, you don't want that. You know what I mean? So those are 2 times that I had to jump in and save some radio DJs from getting caught up in a situation on the streets. But yeah, that's how the whole thing went down with Toker, and I was sad to see what happened to him. That he passed away. You know what I mean? But he did live. He lived that street life, bro, and he lived that. So anything you hear him talk about or do or say on a record is pretty much 99% true. So yeah, he was authentic with his music.
I'm gonna ask my boy Alex a question. Alex, I want you to put in the comments. Do you guys want to see Julio back? Do you guys want to see Julio G back? Okay, and then he gives a percentage.
For sure, man.
But you know, man, I'm just glad you're sharing all these things because, like, I don't have to ask too much.
I have a lot of history, Tony. It's just that,
and I love it, bro.
I've done a lot, but I don't go out there and be telling. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I miss. I haven't even told you about the West Side radio thing and how we did the East Coast West Coast beefs with Tupac and Biggie and all that, because I was involved in the
well, let's save all that.
We'll save all that for another time for sure.
But I do want to ask you a question as a radio personality, because I'm sure you've met many people that are like on my bucket list to want to meet. You've sat across from people, you've interviewed them live on the radio. Who are some of the ones that, if I can use this word for the sake of this interview, that you've interviewed that you were geeked out about, in a sense like, fuck, I'm sitting across from this guy?
Well, there's a few people. So before I got on the radio at 92.3 The Beat, this is in between 1580 KDAY and 92.3 The Beat, I used to lay in my bed and I used to look at my roof in my room, and I would sit there and think, if I had KRS-One in front of me, what would I ask him? And then every one of those people, if I had Rakim in front of me, what would I ask him? And it was crazy because every time I would interview one of them, it would take me back to that room. And I'm a very big believer in, like, you have to put yourself in that situation and feel it so you can gravitate it towards you.
Yes.
And that's what bugged me out. But I love KRS-One. I just love talking to Chris because he's just an intellectually smart person, and the way he expresses himself, and I just love his energy. You know what I mean? So he's always a favorite. One of my favorites too that came out that I felt very honored about was Rakim. When I had Rakim on, I talked to him about the 7 Star and about the 5% Nation and about what he was wearing on the album covers, and nobody had really ever asked him that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So after that interview, he got up and he walked over to me and he shook my hand and he told me, hey man, that was like the best interview I've ever done, man. Thank you, man. Like, you asked me stuff that, like, I've always wanted to answer, man. Thank you very much. Like, and I was like blown away because I'm like, thank me, damn, Rakim, like, I'm honored, bro. Like, I've always wanted to know this. When I would interview people on the radio, 90% of those questions was stuff I wanted to know.
Yes.
It wasn't about y'all. It was like, I'm gonna let y'all listen into me and him talking, and y'all could check what we talking about out. But that was my thing. So I love talking to Chris. I love that one Rakim interview because of what he told me after the interview. I love talking to Snoop. Okay. Snoop is always cool to talk to. We're both Libras, so we vibe together a lot. I love talking to Ice Cube also. Man, who else? I mean, there's a lot of them, man. I love Wyclef. I've had some really interesting conversations. Wyclef Busta Rhymes also had some good interviews with him. There's a lot of them, man. There's a lot of them that I like, but those ones stick out.
It's funny that you say KRS-One and Rakim because those are my 2 favorite rappers.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so when you said that, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I wish
I learned a lot, like touring with Cypress Hill when I was on tour with them. A lot of what I used to do on their show was based on my early time watching KRS-One. So back in the days, Tony used to DJ for Young MC. And so they did a California tour, or they did a California leg of a tour for the ghetto, what was that, Ghetto Music that BDP dropped, that album? Is it called Ghetto Music?
I think so.
Ghetto Music, right?
Yeah.
So it was that album. And so Tony let me jump on the bus with him through those little shows here in California. So I would see KRS-One doing his sound checks. And that's where I learned like a lot of like what I implemented into Cypress's shows. Is not copying what Chris did, but there's certain things of like how to like take a show and build it, and how to get the crowd participation and break off into other things, and how to like be ramming and just go into a whole different beat and just rap over this dope other beat. Chris is just amazing.
Yes.
Last time I seen KRS-One was I was out with Cypress Hill about 3 years ago in Europe, and I had to go watch him, and he blew my mind again. I said, damn, this guy he's the god. MC, bro.
Yeah.
I hate when they say Jay-Z. No, it's KRS-One.
KRS-One.
He still did something on stage that blew my mind again. I'm like, damn, that was dope. I would have never thought of doing that. Why didn't I think of that? It bothered me. Like, I'm like, damn, Chris, you're amazing, bro. Like, the things you do, it was something that he did where he lowered the beat and he just was rhyming, and then the DJ filtered it out and he brought it back in and just I'm like, oh, why didn't I do that?
And the fucking crowd went crazy.
Insane, bro. And his just vocal presence, he knows how to talk into that mic, and his presence on that microphone. Him, Ice Cube has that, Busta has that.
Ice Cube definitely has that.
That menacing attack mode on the mic when they're live.
Yes.
Now, before we get off, for the young people that are out there doing music, if you're rapping over your vocals, stop. If you cannot rap live, get out of the music business, because you do not want to get on stage and get blown out of the water like what happened to Dipset with the Locks. So I want y'all to understand that's exactly a perfect example. They came on, they got Dipset came, jewelried out, and they started rapping over the vocals. And Jada just calls them out. Hey, I could have just played iTunes to do this. I mean, you got to rap live.
You got to rap live.
You have to, because it changes the dynamic. So, like, whenever you're recording a song, this is to the artist listening. When you're recording a song, let's say, Tony, you're working with your artist out here, right? You guys go in the studio right now, you record a song. He just wrote it, right? You record it. Okay, he might have just been working on this for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. How good does he really know it?
Yes.
Right? He might have did it 20 times. That's still not knowing it.
Yeah.
But when you do that song live 150 times, 300 times, your pocket's going to be different. You're going to find different little things that you didn't think the first time you did it. That's why they used to send rock bands out to go play the songs for a month or two in small little venues and then go record the album, so they could get familiar with the music.
Yes.
Instead of that one taking shit, doing take 2, 3 takes. Yeah, and that's why when you hear like Be Real is a good example. When you hear him do Killer Man today, it doesn't sound like the record as much. He found different places to pocket it now because he's done it so many times. And that's why I tell people when you're artists, when you're doing it live, it allows you to have more dynamic and more stuff to play with, taking drops out where you change words, do something different. That makes you become a better artist. If you just like playing the record, you on top, dropping the mic, bringing it back, that's cool and all that, man, but you'll never be a great. You'll never be considered a great doing that. Never. Rick James, I can imagine we was coming up, Tony, we went to a concert to see Rick James, and Rick James was singing on top of his vocals. We would have left. We would have laughed at Zap. We would have laughed at Zap if he wasn't doing a talk box
Exactly.
live. We would have laughed at you. We would have like, what? I ain't paying no $20 for this ticket to see you lip sync. I could have played this in the car loud.
Right.
Why don't you just stand up here and do a fashion show for me? That's drop the mic and walk and go and do that. I'll respect that, but don't get up here with the mic and then you got the vocals going and you trying to scream over them. Now you're fighting two vocals. You screaming on top over here. This one's on this tone. You're on this higher tone. It's a disaster. I seen Little Baby, Da Baby. I seen Da Baby and I love him. I think he's incredible. I love his rap style. I love what he does. But when he gets out there and raps over the vocals, it's like, dog, you're white, bro. How I mean when you rapping live, bro? If not, I'm sorry. I love you, dog, but I would never watch you live, man. This is, and you're doing arenas. This is a ripoff to the fans, bro.
Yeah.
You guys ought to be like, don't rip me off, dude. Come on, man. I'm a fan, bro. Rap it live, dog. So that's why I tell the kids all the time, man. If you get into this music business, you want to rap and do all that, you have to do it live. Practice as much as you can. Do it. You're gonna see one day. You're gonna remember what I told you. You're gonna be somewhere, and you're gonna be blowing this fool out of the water, like I've seen Cypress do many nights where we've just dusted people off the stage because we come in live. And it's on, bro. You know what I mean? And so that's why I tell the young kids out there, please rap live. I want to see you guys win and be great.
Awesome. Julio, I'm speechless, bro.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I think I talk a lot. I'm
no,
sorry. I apologize,
no, stop,
man.
bro. I love it, bro. I love
man.
it. Look, honestly, in so many ways, you sound just like me to the point that motherfucker be like, he's just a fucking hater because I speak the truth.
No, I'm not hating. I'm giving you advice, bro. Like, I'm telling you some real shit to be great, bro. Because that's from experience, and I want to see young kids win. I don't hate on the youth. What they're doing. I may not agree with all the music you do. Is not my flow all the time, but it doesn't mean that I discourage you or tell you you whack. That's your flow. Whatever you're doing, do you. But when you do it live, you're gonna get really good when you keep doing it. And that's all I mean. It's just you'll see how the dynamic changes, and you're able to make shows, incredible shows. So I've been lucky because I've worked with a lot of good people on stage, and I've learned from a lot of rappers. Mellow Man Ace was always incredible to work with because he was spontaneous. When I worked on stage with him, he was one of those people that he can make something happen at the moment. He has that natural about him. Anything could happen. He could jump up on a speaker and do something, and it was dope. And I used to be like, so I used to always have to be real ready with him because he can just take it there or he could just go there, but I had to be ready. Right. But we knew each other because we worked with each other a lot in backyards. And same thing, you know, I DJ for Gerardo, Rico Suave for some time. And he was same thing. He had his band, but he practiced a lot. He knew what he wanted to do. He had his dance routines down. He knew he was a dancer originally, so he had all that down. And big shout out to Gerardo because I love that guy. He's a wonderful person. And I worked with Everlast. I DJed for Everlast for a time. Another guy that works hard at his craft. Yes. Everlast practices. Yes. He practices, and he's a practice fanatic. That's one thing about him. One thing I'll say about Everlast is that he cares about what the fans think of what his presentation is. He really does. He's one artist that I could say that about. He really cares for detail. So I respected that about him. Cypress, same thing. Very careful. They care about what they're doing. They're not high. They're high, but they're not like you think high. They really care about what they're doing. It means a lot to them what their fans think. So it's like I said, I work with a lot of different rappers. So it's like I've had a chance to work with Exhibit, another great MC to work with. So that's what I tell rappers to work on going live.
And I'm glad you said that they care what the fans think. They do. And it's very, very important.
Very important, bro.
Really quick, Alex, what was the score on that? Do you want to see Julio G again?
Okay. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Yes.
And thank you to the fans and everybody that's been supporting me over the years. I know I haven't been active as like I should be, but this year I'm gonna start dropping some stuff with the YouTube, and you're gonna see a lot more of me. So that's coming.
Jeff, can you go get D for a second, please, and tell him to wait right until I call him. Two more questions, and then we call it a wrap.
Sure.
If you can, maybe 3 or 4 best performances rappers you've ever seen, memorable performances.
KRS One, that's off the gate. No problem. Ice Cube, in his early, I mean, it's still now, but I'm saying I've caught him in his. When he was just, it was unstoppable. I mean, I think he's still that now.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, he is.
Still amazing now. But I caught him in them times where it's like, I will tell you another one that used to tear House of Blues down in Minnie's Exhibit. Exhibit, a lot of people sleep on him, but show-wise, that guy used to, he still does, but he, back in the 90s, when he had, What You See Is What You Get in that album, 40 Days, 40 Nights, he was destroying. Busta is out of here. Redman and Method Man, because I've toured with them. So anytime they've been around with Cypress, we know we have to step it up. And they know. It's funny because they know too. They like, oh shit, it's Cypress, we got to get it. And the same thing we do with Red and Meth. Oh shit, we playing with Red and Meth. We have to, like, and believe it or not, like I said, you'd think like a Cypress Hill group like that's been around for so long, it's like, just another show. Just get my money, get my bag. But it's not.
It's not like that.
It's not, bro. Honestly, I tell you, we'd be backstage to the last show I did with them, and we're like, "Well, you ready? You ready? Everybody straight? We good? We know what we got to do. We got to get out there and we got to get busy, dog. We got to kill this. We got to take."
Yes.
And it was just, it's very serious. Every show means something because those fans, you want you want to steal other people's fans.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yes.
You want to steal other people's fans, and that's what we came to do. So there was nights where Cypress would tear this. I mean, Lollapalooza in Chicago one day, I think Soundgarden came on after us, and we tore it down so hard that it was just difficult for Soundgarden. And I love them, but I love Soundgarden. Me and Bobo went to see them.
Yeah.
But it was like we had just rocked them so hard. They were tired. They were
of course. They were burned.
Like, I can't even go see Soundgarden right now, bro. I need a break. We high. We've been jumping. We've been mosh pitting. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like I've done some real damage with Cypress and Exhibit. I've done some good shows. I DJ for Psycho Realm a couple shows. They're incredible to do. You know, but yeah, those are my standout ones, man. I'll say KRS, Exhibit, Busta, Red and Meth. You know, those are real hip hop shows.
From mine, and I'll repeat them again. KRS-One, no particular order. KRS-One, NWA, and I shared that with Yella when he was here. I have to say, man, that Cypress Hill. When I saw Cypress Hill perform,
great show.
and we're talking about the first album, you know, and I told B this. And this might trip you out, but I toured with these guys and I saw their shows and they were fucking incredible. The Ghetto Boys.
Yeah, they're good too. Yeah.
When he came out with that My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me album, oh my God, bro. Yeah. Like honestly, like I feel goofy. Like we opened up for them. Like fuck, they just tore that motherfucker up.
Yeah.
But
that makes you better though, man.
It does.
You have to get worked.
Yes.
You have to take that work once in a while so you can feel it. Then you go home and like, look, I'm never gonna feel that again. I'm gonna work on my show and come up. My 15 minutes about to be the baddest 15 minutes you ever seen in your life, dog.
Yes.
It has to be that concept. You know,
Yes.
you have to figure out how to entertain people. And a lot of people they get out there and they think it's a fashion show. And it's not that, man. You know, you have to be careful. Somebody will blow you out of stage that's really rhyming like that, you know.
Let me give a quick shout out to B Real. He was on. He said, great 200th episode.
I appreciate B Real, man. That's my guy. Let me say one thing before I go. I want to say something, man.
Go for it.
Let me say something about Cypress, man. I was very blessed to be able to be taken around the world. Okay, so basically, like I said, I introduced them to Muggs and you know, they got their thing going or whatever. And that was their thing, you know what I mean? And it all came back to me.
Yes.
They ended up taking me on tour one day.
That's beautiful.
I was stuck in a situation. I just got off the radio at 93.5 KDAY. I called B Real. I'm like, hey, B Real, I just got off the radio, man, and I'll just checking in with you, dog. You know what I mean? If there's anything y'all need, just let me know. Matter of fact, we do need you. We got a show next week. Come on. And that turned into 10 years. So that's how that happened. It wasn't it was just like, we got a show next week. Come on, man. And so that started from there. And so, but one thing about them, they took me all around the world. I seen things I would never been able to pay for to see.
Right.
I rock stages that I will never. I mean, classic places that are around the world, classic festivals around the world, headlining, and you know, getting busy and on stage shouting my name out. And when they went first class, I went first class. They business class, I'm business class. Everything they did, I did with them. It wasn't like, oh hey, we're Cypress, and then you go in the back.
Yeah.
It was not like that. I was like if I was the fourth member with them. And that's how they treated me through the whole 10 years. So that's why I appreciate them so much. And then it was never anything funny with the money, ever.
Right.
One thing I love about Cypress.
And that's another beautiful thing.
Everlast too. And Everlast I give props to, and Gerardo too. Those three individuals, everything was so on point. And I appreciate that about them, you know, because we're friends, you know what I mean? And it makes sometimes it could get, like I never spoke, the whole time with Cypress, I never talked to them about money. It was like, hey, did you talk to the management? Are y'all straight? Is everything cool? Okay, cool, ready to go? Okay, cool, let's go. It was never, because we've been friends for so long, you know
That's
what I mean?
dope. That's
so
dope.
that's why I love those guys, and I'll always be there to support them if they ever need me or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever they need, I'm always down with them.
No,
so.
you know what, and it's the same thing with B Real. I just want to say, well, to all of them, but specifically to B Real, you know, I interviewed him here twice, and that was a beautiful thing. I've been on his podcast twice. I was just recently on there, you know, and I asked him, you know what, is it cool if I bring my artist? And he said, bring him along. And he gave us an opportunity so that he can at least showcase my artist, give him an opportunity to a whole new audience. So I want to say thank you for that, because that's a beautiful thing. You know what? Those doors just don't open every day. So I want to thank you for opening that door.
For sure.
And hopefully, you know, you can come back and chill with me and stay the long haul and drink with me, because B-Real drinks when he comes over here. And next time I'm going to say this, I never let anybody smoke weed here.
Yeah.
I've never. But B-Real, you come back, you can smoke all you want.
You got to, man. You got to let B-Real smoke. Man, I'm going to tell you, he smoked out so many hotels. I don't know. I can't even begin to tell you guys. Boy, that guy smokes Everybody's asked me this question. Hey, who smoked? Hey, and I just stop, bro.
Stop.
I know you think me Snoop Dogg. I know you want to say this guy Wiz Khalifa. Stop. Please, bro. Stop playing. Don't do it to yourself, dog.
Right.
Be Real smokes the weed, the prime best situation. I mean, he's taken me and showed me so much. I learned so much with that guy just from the music business and from the weed business.
Right.
And everything about weed, that's just what that guy's about. I mean, and he functions that way. It's incredible because he's not off point. He's on point.
No,
that
right.
guy functions like that, bro.
You're absolutely right.
We've been in pressure situations where this guy's like on point. Don't forget words. I'm like, just like, damn, I don't know how this guy does that, bro. He's really good at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
right.
but he cares about his craft.
Yeah.
He really does.
I have a guy like that here. I don't know if he can hang with them. My boy Alex, that guy can smoke too.
Now, good luck, bro, with Be Real. I'll tell you
good
this.
luck, homie.
I can hang with Be Real at times, but there's times where he'll tap me out. You know what I mean? But he's made me the smoker I am today. It's his fault. Actually, it really is. I blame that on him. I wouldn't have the tolerance I have today. I mean, he smokes, bro. Like, we get off stage and we get back on the tour bus, everybody change their clothes, and it's like, we're smoking in the morning. When we wake up, he's already up before all of us in the front of the bus. He's smoking.
So it's true about that song.
Fun.
I smoked 2 joints before I smoked 2 joints.
Oh yes. Fire sticks too. Like, he's on indicas in the morning. He's not even on sativa. It's just like, that guy's, he's incredible to be around. And it's been a pleasure to work with those guys. And I love him and Sen. And I've known us since we were kids, but just being on tour with them just became even more closer with those guys. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So love those guys.
Julio, last question. Any shout outs?
Shout out to my grandkids. They're probably sleeping right now. They were watching me earlier. I'm very honored. I mean, I'm very blessed to have 3 beautiful grandkids, man. They've just really changed my life, man.
I have 3, just like you.
I know, we were talking about that.
Yes.
So shout out to my grandkids. Shout out to Tony G and my god kids too. And shout out to LA Kush, all my people at LA Kush.
LA Kush.
Yeah, man, I love LA Kush. That's my spot. And shout out to everybody on the West Coast, man. I will come back and we'll do some more, and I'll fill you in on a whole bunch of other stuff. And be ready for my YouTube channel coming, I guess, in the next month or 2. And I believe next year I'll be putting out the book. It's called Julio G, Been There, Spun That. And it gets really deep into a lot of different situations, so about hip-hop.
Dope.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give a couple of shout-outs. First and foremost, I'm going to give Julio G, a shout-out. Much love, much respect for coming
you, Tony. Thank you,
and chopping it up with me, bro. Truly means a lot to me,
man,
bro.
I appreciate you, bro.
From handing me this in 1988 to being here in 2021.
Still here, bro.
We're still here.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give a couple of shout-outs. There's no particular order, but these are people that have been close and dear to me, people that just call me every once in a while and just say, hey, how you doing, man? You good? So I don't know there's a lot more than this, but these are the people that just came to my mind just like when I was putting this list together. So first and foremost, let me give it once again happy birthday to Cisco and Di Zamora. Cisco flew out here from Odessa, Texas to be here for the 200th episode. So I want to say once again, happy birthday to him. I want to give a shout out to my friend in Las Vegas, Kina Bina. She supports us here at Roadium Radio since day one. I want to give a shout out to Erica from B&B Entertainment. Much love, much respect to Erica. She's had my back since day one. Let me give a shout out to Bella the rapper. Much love, much respect to her. Blanca from Bobby D Presents. Blanca has been here since day one. Much love, much respect to you. Also, I want to give a shout out to one of our friends, Pablito.
Pablito!
Yeah,
yes,
I
that's
talk
my
to
boy
Pablito
right there.
all the time. Much love, much respect to Pablito.
Shout out to Bobby D too. He's doing big things, man. I'm glad
Bobby
to see
D.
that. Yeah, man.
And I have Be Real in here. Be Real has looked out for me.
For sure.
So I want to give a shout out to Magic Girl, Forever Genesis. I want to give a shout out to Go Toes. He calls me often.
Go Toes.
Yes. My boy Pocho One. Okay. Big D, MC Magic's manager, and MC Magic. I want to give a shout out to you. Big D always like, Superman, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But much love, much respect to you, big dog. Fred Segura, a.k.a. The Grindhouse, much love, much respect to you. He's always texting me. I appreciate your text. Sometimes it takes me a while to answer, but thank you for checking up on me. Also want to give a shout out to Jeff, my boy Mr. D's manager. He always calls me, oye viejo. He's always saying that. So thank you for that. My boy Darren Vegas, underrated producer. He deserves his flowers. My boy DG, my boy Omar Trujillo, my boy Johnny, Daz, and Mokes from Spanish Fly. Much love, much respect to you guys. and DJ Dominator from Napomo, but now he lives in Santa Maria, another underrated producer. And I know there's a lot more, and I forgot some of you guys. I'm sorry, but that's all I can remember right now. So,
That's right.
I love you guys. So other than that, I want to thank you guys for making Roadium Radio possible. 200th episode. Hopefully we're here. Episode 300.
Sure,
yeah,
man.
you know.
Yeah. Congratulations too, Tony. That's a big accomplishment.
Muchas gracias,
man.
bro. I truly appreciate you for that. Absolutely. Other than that, we'll be here Wednesday. So thank you guys, everybody. And I want to thank Lowrider Life Magazine for the balloons that you guys sent today for the 200th episode. So thank you for that. Julio G, much love.
Much love, bro.
You'll be back soon.
Yes.
Alex Cervantes Enterprise. You can follow him on 81 Cervantes Enterprise on Instagram. Once again, Anthony the Hip Hop Jedi. And also my son, B. Scanless. Follow him on Instagram. And there's one more. 310 Micheladas. Once again, for bringing the Micheladas. Thank you. And one more thing. D, I want you to come over here. Stand real fast over here. Put the camera on the center one. Okay. This is Mr. D. Once again, this is my artist, even though his manager's sitting right next to it, but I consider him my artist because I think we were meant to work with each other. But Mr. D, let me tell you something. Follow him on TikTok, number one, for that's his official TikTok page. We just started it today. Everybody else trying to get clout, trying to get followers off of his music. Let me tell you something. Just make sure you guys follow him on TikTok. And we posted it up during the break, so make sure you guys rewind it and check it out. But Mr. D, for me, is a real one, and you guys will be hearing his album, if not late this year, early next year. But we're already got like 6 or 7 songs into it. We're gonna do about 18 songs. We're gonna release about 12 on the album. So you guys will not be disappointed. When you guys
Tony A production?
Tony A production.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
He's the only guy that was able to bring me out of retirement.
I love it, man. I love it. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah. And believe me, it's not what you guys think, okay? He sounds totally different. If you guys watch episode, I think it was 300 and something on the Be Real podcast, he talks about who his influences are. And they're like KRS, Big L, Big Pun, so you know what kind of rapper he is. So with that being said, once again, Mr. D, thank you very much. Thank you for coming through. Everybody, we love you. See you. God bless. Have a blessed night. See you guys Wednesday.
Yeah.
You got it.